What's up, guys? Tambo here with your Week 6 core report. It's an exciting time to be a RunPureSports member as we parlay another big week of winning with the start of the NBA season. Here's a recap of last week. No sports were off limits for winners this past week. Relay 20 hit for $8K on the NASCAR slate. Brad Combe won $5K in an MLB playoff slate. Max Hankins gave a preview of what members can expect, shipping for $21,000 in NBA preseason. Big T had another big week, hitting for over $37,000 in CFB. For the NFL main slate, GK 2400 won over $10K on FanDuel, while our guy Locks shipped an NFL Live final seat. But the biggest wins came on Monday Night Football, when the top of the leaderboard was littered with RPS logos again. JSU led the way with his core plays featuring Captain Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert and Joshua Palmer in the flex. His winning lineup was topped off with Russell Wilson and Dustin Hopkins, as well as low-owned $200 Greg Dulcich, who was talked up big on our free Monday Night Football Showdown show by special guest Chris Randone.
He's fast. He runs like a 4.7 40, and he can actually play the slot. He gives very difficult matchup situations. He's fast. He's got hands. Don't be surprised tonight if maybe he's out there in the mix and, he gets, a few catches and, who knows what happens.
This is your weekly reminder to head on over to our YouTube page and hit subscribe to access all of our great free content. Our guy Johnny AirPods wasn't the only one repping RPS at the top, shipping for over $50K. Matt Attack Lax ran the same lineup twice, shipping for over $95,000. Phil Mike's Bra also shipped for $10,000, while Nuggets hit for $14,000. Now is the time to join us. Head on over to RunPureSports.com and sign up for a membership today. Again, all sports are included for one price, and NBA starts this week. You won't want to miss out when our team gets hot during hoop season. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Till next time, let's keep running pure. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. Toe Tag and Tambo. We're back. Another Sunday, week 7. Got the Off the Chalk show here. Fastest 100 likes ever. We appreciate you guys. Saw it happen on the way in. We hit it. First time ever. So we're going for the fastest 500, which is at 9:30. So we got a lot of time here still to get to the fastest 500. Already 300 watching. Thank you guys for waking up early with us. Here, as always, with my guys, JT Hayes, AP the man, and AP, I'm going to bring you in first, man. How you doing on this fine early Sunday morning for week 7?
Yeah, doing really good. Excited to be here this morning. It's, the show. Everyone hit the like button. This show gets earlier and earlier each and every week. I know that because it's still dark outside. When I look out my window right now, I don't know where the sun is. It's still dark out. So the show has to be getting earlier. So, we got a fun slate this week. I'll try, the Chiefs are back on the slate. I'm going to try to keep the Chiefs talk to a minimum to please the crowd, but we will see. We'll do my best, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely something to talk about today because we'll get there in a second to the quarterbacks and all that, but I do think it's going to be something to talk about. They're calling you the baby-faced assassin today, AP. So, oh, wow, AP is really ready to pick some winners over there. And JT
the baby face, is that a that's actually pretty funny.
I made it up. Someone's rocking the fresh shaved baby face. I said I'll call him the baby face assassin. He's coming in picking the winners. JT Hayes, always good to be here with you, my friend. How you doing?
And it's my favorite type of Sunday. The Chiefs and Kyle Pitts back on the slate. Always so much to talk about with these guys. Kyle Pitts gets in the box last week. I can't wait to hear how high you guys are on him this week. But God, just a great Sunday. Great Sunday. AP, maybe it's just that your house keeps moving further west and not that this show keeps getting earlier and earlier, even though every Sunday I'm like, oh, it's 8:15. I got to get up.
I want to note, though, did Pitts even get to double-digit points with that touchdown? That might have been the problem. I think he hit like 10.6 or 11, and that's with him falling in the box. So, man, that's a tough scene.
3 targets, and I think he ended with 11 points. So we'll talk about the Falcons when we get to that.
And Mecole Pruitt stole one from him out of the gate too, I believe. So
yes.
Wow. So we got through the intros of JT and AP, and we're already just about at 200 likes. So definitely appreciate that. That's going to be the fastest 200 of all time. I just keep saying this quicker and quicker every week, but you guys know it helps the show out. We love bringing you guys this free content. If you haven't yet, got over to runpuresports.com and signed up. Now is the time. NBA in full swing. I think RPS won 3 of the 4 first slates to start the season, including the big 888 on DK for for 250,000. Our guy Sweet Boy. So a lot of stuff going on over there. NFL. If you guys haven't been following it, our cores just smashing. Big T won 2 out of the first 6 weeks. His core hit for big money. Hoop one of the other weeks hit for a milli, basically using that core and fixing a couple guys around it from his playbook. So lots going on over at RPS. If you haven't yet done so, get signed up. All sports, one price. AP, I'm going to kick it over to you to start the slate off.
Tambo, real quick, since you won't talk yourself up at all, our guy Tambo right here won 100K this week in the NBA streets.
Thank you.
Let's go, Tambo.
Hey, I appreciate it that you bring that up. I'll tell you right now, though, if you're watching this and you haven't signed up yet, I was thinking about this today. We got a couple seconds here. I'll start it off. I was saying, like, if you buy, all I did for that night, it was a 2-game slate. AP and Glock put up heat maps on the site. This is just one of the many things we put up on the site. So I'll tell you, because it's a good story to tell this. On a 2-game slate, it's even easier to take those playbooks, those heat maps, or I should say, and use them with the playbook and everything, put it all together, because there's only 2 games and you just got to find ways to get different. And I put 150 lineups in the $5 on FanDuel. So, but it was all right there. Someone put it in our Discord after. It was like, Tambo just used this and shipped, and it was right there. You could see the names circled. They were all either solid, elite, or core. Like, you can't get better than those things. Is what ended up being the winning lineup. But if you've been waiting to sign up, I look at it almost like a gym membership, right? You buy a gym membership for $50 a month and you say, okay, I want to get in shape. I want to start getting things together. But then you got to go buy the food, the groceries, all that stuff too, to make it actually happen. And you got to put in the work, but at least it's easier because now you have a way to do it. That's how I would treat RunPureSports when you're signing up. You want to get your money right. You want to get your money in line, in shape. You sign up for the membership. You're already paying $50 a day or $100 a week or whatever it is. Why not sign up, get in there, put the work in, get in the Discord, watch the shows, use the content, simplify the slate, expedite the process. You do all that, then your money starts to get in shape. And I know that if you're watching this, that's what you want to happen. So keep that in mind when you guys are looking. I know not everyone can afford it up front, whatever it might be. It's the cheapest in the industry for all sports, one price. I was on the Wednesday NBA show last week. I'm not some NBA aficionado. I don't know the rotations. I don't know any of that. I just use the tools, put them in play. I know how to play DFS. I know how to use an optimizer, but you'll be in the Discord with people learning that stuff. So, and rant, but that is appreciated, AP. But really, that's a sales pitch for RunPureSports. Just get on there, get in, start using the tools. AP, go back to you, man. Let's talk football. Let's go with it. Give me your just overview of the slate, what you think stands out right off the top, and then we'll, of course, get into quarterback and talk through the chalk.
Yeah, so, a really interesting slate from the standpoint, I think there's a lot of spots we can cross off. And I think for me, focusing on stacking a few games up is where I'm going to be. I have a ton of interest. I mean, we're going to get into it, but I have a ton of interest in some of these, like QB plus wide receiver 1 running back with someone. I mean, Joey Burrow and the Bengals are a prime example of that. I think in the late window, the Chargers, Seahawks are another example of that. And then I think it really sets up very well for the secondary stacks. And what I'm talking about is like a running back plus a opposing receiver, or a wide receiver plus, opposing wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 with no quarterback stack. So I think it sets up to be an excellent week for correlation. That's where I'm going to be today. I'm going to be focusing on some of these best spots. And there's a few plays out there too that will help you get different.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asked for get a free membership. We do giveaways and everything every now and then. I'm going to have a giveaway this week. I'm giving away some Tambo bucks. I hinted at it the last couple of weeks. I'll put it up on my Twitter, tag RunPure, get everybody involved, but it's definitely going to be for members, giving back to the people that support. That's what it comes down to. I'll do one free giveaway for somebody else. I always mix it up. I like doing that, but someone said, like, you can't just give it away. You got to put the work in. That's what we're all about here. We talk about it all the time. So get signed up when you can. It's something you have to do right now. In the meantime, if you can't sign up, the like button is free. You can hit that. You can subscribe to the channel. We're up over the 12,500 now, like I talked about last week, pushing now for 15K is the next goal. and you can win off these free shows. And then when you get that money, use it to sign up and get in there and learn even more. So I love that. JT Hayes, go to you, buddy. Anything for this slate you see off the top? AP mentioned a few things there, but anything else that you're seeing, just sort of grand scheme overview for this slate?
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that the like button is free. That made me die. So the like button is free. But yeah, it's one of those weeks, Tambo, where I'm looking at the quarterbacks here, and I'm really torn on a couple of these plays because you've got guys in really good matchups with some uncertainty. So Dak Prescott coming back from an injury, one of the best matchups in fantasy football. He's got a beautiful complement of weapons, right? But is he going to be limited? Is he going to be limited in any way? I know he was fine in practice. They said the throws look good, right? So there's that. AP talked about the Chargers. Chargers, absolutely phenomenal spot. Bit of uncertainty here because Keenan Allen, big piece of their offense, questionable game time decision. I wrote this game up in the Gems articles that AP, myself, Gary, Mitch, I think Snyder does one of these, right? Do a bunch of these every week. And I said, hey, this is a really tricky spot because it's a late game and it looks like there's not alignment between Keenan and the team. Keenan wants to rest until after the bye. The team is like, hey, we need to win games. Get your ass in there. Yeah. So it's interesting. You also have a couple of other injuries there that make me interested in secondary pieces as well that I think are going to be lower owned. So I think AP is right on the money here with looking at some of these higher totals. What I'm doing with some of that is looking at the secondary pieces that are going to be a little bit lower owned. And we'll talk about that when we get into position by position. But clear example, Jamar Chase, great talent, going to be very popular. I like T. Higgins a lot more than Jamar Chase this week.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I like your call. I think they're both good, but I think they're both steaming up. I mean, Higgins is definitely cheaper, so usually that gets the ownership there. We'll see when we get to wide receiver, but I agree with all those takes. And I also think a couple other things for me, and then AP, I'm coming to you to start at quarterback, is one, it looks really tough. Like it's sort of balanced at quarterback. So it's a good piece when we go to the segue here in a minute. But at the same time, it to me looks like a week one where the quote unquote cash lineups win again. I think that's going to be the case. I actually do. I've looked at a lot. I've seen everything. And again, it won't be what you think, though. It's what people are calling a cash game lineup. Again, not who you play, how you play them. I talk about it all the time. It won't actually be a cash game lineup. It'll be like, how did all those plays get there together? It's all how you build it out. We'll talk through some of that on this very show. And then lastly is when we get to tight end, really weird week where the values are incredible at tight end. And if you need some moves to make stuff fit, I actually think there's a possibility that you could use two of them. So AP, let's go to you. We've got Lamar Jackson, both quarterbacks in that Seattle Chargers game. Geno Smith is still cheap, and Justin Herbert. And then Joe Burrow, who you mentioned off the top, with a little side of Derek Carr in that Las Vegas-Houston game. So what are your thoughts of these five quarterbacks? And then what are your thoughts on quarterback as a whole?
Yeah, it looks like, so I haven't looked at those cash lineups that you're talking about. Something I will definitely go and do. I mean, if anyone has an optimizer, go around the industry, find the top projected plays, bump them up, run your optimizer, sort by highest projected score. You're probably going to get something close to what Tam was talking about. Not a secret. Anyone can find that. But if Lamar is going to be the highest owned, I'm probably going to move off of him. I wouldn't talk anyone out of playing him. It's Lamar Jackson. Actually, my son right now loves to play Madden, and I always pick, he picks the Chiefs. I pick the Ravens. He can't stop me. I just run around the field with Lamar Jackson. Can't stop me. I'm owning him. It feels good now because I'm sure in a year from now he's going to be owning me. But I digress. Continuing on, for me, back to what I said when we started, it's all about correlation. It's all about stacking. Joe Burrow, I was talking pre-show. It pains me to talk up the Bengals like I'm going to because they owned my Chiefs last year, and I'm getting worried for that. I think KC's going to make a nice run, and they're going to be sitting pretty going into this match against Cincinnati again here in 6-7 weeks, and it's going to be a battle. But, man, how can you not like Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase? Joe Burrow 6.9K, Chase 8.2, reestablished their connection last week. And the other thing about it is if you don't like Chase, or if you're multi-entering, you go T. Higgins. So you go Chase in one, you go Higgins in the other. I would not play them together. We rarely ever see that work out with this duo. So that is, Burrow, one of my top quarterbacks on the slate. Justin Herbert's my next guy. I think he's just going to fall a little bit under the radar here. And the reason I like Justin Herbert is look at the implied team total, 28 points. If they come anywhere close to that, which I think they do, I think they smash that and put up over 30. We know exactly where the production is going to come from. Eckler can get it done. He can catch a dump off out of the backfield, which is going to count for a touchdown to Herbert. So he correlates with Herbert, even though he's a running back. Big Mike Williams, slate breaking upside. I could see it. So Herbert and I think you can double stack him with Eckler. Mike Williams might be a little thin to make that work, but I'm also there's a tight end I'm looking at that I think is going to be like 0.3% owned that I think is pretty sneaky in that game. And then the run backs too. We know Kenneth Walker looks like a stud. You got DK Metcalf, Lockett. Obviously, we're going to talk about those position players, but how can you not like Herbert? I think he's going to fall, right around 10%, something like that. And then Burrow, maybe 8%. So those are going to be two of my higher owned guys. And then I'm also looking at Geno Smith as a third option in that Seahawks-Chargers game. Really curious to see what you guys have to say about him. And we were talking pre-show about my guy, Patrick Mahomes. My thing there is when I look at this game, for the Chiefs to win, I think it's going to come from the defensive side of the ball. I think they got to get aggressive. I just don't know if I can pay $7.8K for Mahomes here. I will say I can't remember a time where he's ever lost back-to-back weeks. So there is that going for him. But I know the 49ers defense likely, I think Joey Bosa's, I think he's back, right? Yeah, so it's going to make things.
Yeah. Bosa and Trent.
And Trent Williams are both back. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so that's.
But Trent Williams, you're thinking of Bosa for 48. You're talking Joey Bosa here, but for the 49ers, you're saying? Nick Bosa and Trent Williams both back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Bag makes things really, really difficult. So for me, I'll leave it at that. Burrow, Herbert, and then Geno Smith, kind of the top three I'm looking at.
Yeah, the Mahomes one is interesting because we were talking pre-show on it, and JT, I'll come to you in a second, but when you put him with, I want him with Kelsey because I like on a slate like this when everyone's paying value at tight end to get Kelsey in there, but really it was, only the hand builds that I liked because the optimizer is putting it, again, it's so tough to figure out wide receiver roulette over there in Kansas City, so I like your talk earlier, the zig when people zag and go to a guy like MVS after Juju had his week last week, that makes sense, but it's really tough to sort of put it all together, and if you're going Kittle, it's double tight end. If you're going Debo, it's another expensive piece in there that needs even more value to make it work. So, we were going back and forth because you were talking about Herbert at first, and then you moved over to that game. So that's how I confused Joey and Nick. But of course, like you said,
I did that too. That's what I was. I
was like, what? And then JT was mentioning Trent Williams, the left tackle for the 49ers. But now I get where you were putting it all together. So, JT Hayes, I'll go to you, man. What are your thoughts here at the quarterback position this week?
Yeah, like I said a little earlier, I'm a little bit torn here because I do think there are good options and there's a lot of uncertainty there. I don't think that you can go wrong with Justin Herbert because even if Allen's limited, you're going to get Eckler 20, 24 touches the last 3 weeks. The offense has been flowing through him, but a lot of that has been through the air. He got 16 passing targets in Monday night's game. So I like Herbert there a little bit. I am going to have to play some Dak today and take the chance that he's fully healthy against this Detroit defense. I mean, I like the passing attack here. I like CeeDee Lamb. When Dak has been in there, when he's been the quarterback, he's targeted Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is 3.9, expected, I think, to suit up here. So I don't know how much Schultz I'll have because I like some other tight ends here, but I like those guys. The thing with Lamar, man, is if he's healthy, if that hip is not as much of an issue as people say, with how bad this Browns defense has been against the rush, I mean, Lamar could legitimately rush for 200 yards today. With no J.K. Dobbins, they bring Gus Edwards in off the PUP list. So I think Jackson is in play for me, even though he's going to be highly owned. I don't know how much, but I like him a little bit. And then if you wanted to go down a little and take a complete risk, a complete chance,
say it,
a game with a decent total, Davis Mills.
He said it.
Cooks, right? I mean,
yes.
We know that the Las Vegas Raiders are allowing the most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. And Davis Mills, man, you can make some sick lineups, Tambo, with Davis Mills.
Both sites, actually. That's what I was going to say. One thing about this slate, too, we don't always talk a lot of FanDuel. People out there like it. FanDuel's pricing is insane. this week. It's literally nuts. Like Josh Jacobs is 8,600. Eckler is 9,500. Like these prices, go to the tight end position. There's just some crazy prices out there across the board. I'm like, oh, I found this value guy. I'm going to go on FanDuel and see what that does for me over there. Nothing, because he's priced up 1,100 more than I thought he would be. So keep that in mind. But I love the Davis Mills call. I posted a chart on my Twitter in the tidbits yesterday, and it was Taylor Heineke and Davis Mills at the $5,000 price point that go 4X quite a bit of the time, actually, that they've played and on a decent enough sample. And you got to think, this is what I talked earlier about. It's not a cash game lineup when Davis Mills is in there, but if you wanted to play Josh Jacobs and Moreau chalk, the way to do it would be, and I don't think as many are doing this. People are still doing it with Geno Smith. They're still doing it with Herbert and stacking up and overstacking a game. But when we saw our guy Hoopster win the million a few weeks ago now, when he had that Seattle-Detroit game overstack, it was the same situation. I got to decide on this Moreau chalk and Jacobs this week. His week was the Detroit guys, obviously. Sometimes you shuffle them in, overstack the other side, and you can start getting a game stack there for a game that could be pretty interesting going back and forth. You can get Pierce in there. You can get Nico Collins. You can get Brandon Cooks. Like, I actually like quite a bit of those guys together. And again, you just need the game to go off, stack up the points. You might want to do it in something higher dollar, smaller field, or just smaller field in general, but I like it even for the large field stuff. I think it's an interesting stack to go with. Both offenses pretty condensed when you think about it, so I don't hate that either. AP, anybody else you wanted to talk about at this position? And then I'll give mine sort of to round it out.
No, I like that. You guys are getting me excited. I mean, I've been saying it each and every morning on this Sunday show. Nico Collins has been close. Like, he's going to be an $1 million maker winner sometime this year. Could be today. And if you go Mills, I wasn't even thinking about Mills. But JT, you got me real excited. If you go Mills, Collins, running back with Jacobs, that's a cheap way to get exposure to what should be a game that we see a lot of points in.
You want me to add to your excitement here?
Yeah.
Do it.
So the other thing, because I wrote them down, then I do something. I kind of look at props and where the market is. It's got the fourth best props for a quarterback, Davis Mills, just in terms of favorites, pricing. I think it's a pretty good spot here. I think that game goes over too. 45.5, it's going to shoot out.
If it misses, I don't care. That's the best part of it. Like you can play even if you're playing MME 150, you can put 10% of them, get 15 lineups. Most people are only putting 20 lineups in the Millie Maker. Like if you put you're 150 and you're playing that level, then you put 15 lineups with them, you've got some outs. I definitely think it's interesting. There's cheap guys that you can mix in for secondary stacks to make other stuff work. I do like that. The other guys I like, so I liked your Dak call. I like Herbert quite a bit. One thing, someone in the chat said he needs Keenan Allen. I want him. I like it. I'm assuming Keenan Allen's out with the bye coming up. I know it's still game time decision, but I just don't understand why they would play him when they have the bye coming up. If he does play, I mean, he's definitely healthy if they're going to do that. I think otherwise they would just sit him. So keep that in mind as we wait to get to the lock here. But I do think going with him with the more condensed target tree, when you have Allen, Palmer, and Parham out, there's a lot of ways you can go there. I know AP's saving a play when we get to tight end later, but there's other ways to go in that game. But I definitely think it's a good game stack. I'll play some. I know Big T will make fun of me later for it, but I'll play some Brady still, because I actually think it's going to be the opposite of last week. The books, put the line the same way. I know they just lost to Pittsburgh, but Carolina is literally the worst team in the NFL, I think. So if Brady wants to pump them for 4 touchdowns, I think it's possible. I'm not going crazy with it, but I like that. And then I've got Davis Mills, Lamar Jackson. I agree with what AP said earlier with Mahomes. I like it, but it's hard to stack. So went away from it for the most part. I think with Herbert, getting your, Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams can still work, and there's enough value to make it work. DeAndre Carter playing out of the slot. If Allen is out, I definitely think that's good at 3,700. So there's a lot of ways that you can go about using that team. And I don't think you have to go this crazy off the board looking for all these. Look, even if Davis Mills gets steamed up a little, it's going to be 5-7%. Like, that doesn't matter to me. If you've got 10, 15, you're in a good spot there. So I'm okay with it. But I think we've got a bigger spot to talk about here, AP, and that's at the running back position. Guys, if you're just joining us now, almost 1,000 watching, the likes slowed down heavily. They're hurtful. If you didn't watch last week, I told you it's simple. If you can't hit the like, take a hike. It's easy. We're putting this on for free every single week. We got this show, and then after, we got the Morning Wood Show. The Morning Wood Show is going to need those likes to get the plays of the day anyway, so save yourself the time. Click it right now. It's that big thumbs up, bottom right corner. While you're there, hit the subscribe button. 300 other people in this past week decided to hit that button. Become number 301 and beyond. AP, I'll go to you. Josh Jacobs, probably the biggest conversation piece for this entire slate. I didn't talk a lot about Derek Carr, so you can tie it back in at quarterback if you wanted to try and leverage this up and go the other side of Davis Mills and play your Devontae Adams, your Moreaus, guys like that. Renfro looks like he's going to play now, but what's your thoughts on Josh Jacobs here? He's the biggest discussion piece, and then Kenneth Walker, Eckler, Breece Hall, Mixon, some of these other guys getting worked in.
Yeah, I mean, we see it each week. You can eat certain chalk pieces, and still be extremely successful in your tournaments. We saw it with Hoop and the Millie. We see it each week with some of these chalk pieces. They're chalk for a reason. We know what the Raiders want to do. Josh Jacobs has looked phenomenal. You can run on this Texans team much easier than I think Denver and KC. KC coming into that game against the Raiders were pretty good. We're pretty good against the run, and Jacobs ran all over them. So I am definitely going to be on Josh Jacobs today. I think it's a bad fade if you fade him. And look, here's what you do. You don't have to lock him in. I mean, it depends on what your strategy is. If you're running 150, get him like at 50, 55%. You're leaving yourself some outs. You're going to be slightly over the field. You might be, if you want, go 60, 65%. But I definitely wouldn't like full fade him. I mean, you're banking on just a completely weird game script going down where like the Texans get up early. Then it's like, man, if you do fade him, you should probably have exposure to Devontae Adams or other pieces in this offense, because the Raiders are going to put up points. A must-win game for them for sure to get their season turned around. So yeah, I am good with Jacobs, and then Eckler too. It's like the same story. I know a lot of people are going to have that combo right there, myself being one of them. It's just, we know the workload is going to be there for Austin Eckler, and he's just so good. The matchup's so good. He can get it done on the ground. He can get it done catching balls out of the backfield. He's the favorite weapon right now of Justin Herbert if Mike Williams isn't open. So I'm going to have him too. And then Kenneth Walker, another good play. I mean, look, I think this is probably a week to keep things simple at running back, at least for me. I'm going to be focused probably on getting unique elsewhere, 4 wide receiver builds, maybe a double tight end look. There are a couple options we were talking about, before the show started. So for me, I'm going to keep things pretty simple here at the running back spot.
Yeah, I think the Josh Jacobs one is the most interesting. Like I said, for me, I was looking at it like, how can I stack with him then against him? There's just nobody even close in his range that has the ceiling. I'm going to have some of those Mills lineups, like I said, where you don't need to feature him. You can have Mills, Cooks, Collins, run it back with Devontae Adams and just play different running backs. You can do stuff like that to try and leverage it in other spots. But in reality here, the spot that he's in, his props are basically Derrick Henry's props on this slate. It's not the be all end all, but that's pretty incredible. The price is just definitely wrong. And so even if you look at it from that perspective with the ownership attached, sometimes there's just good chalk plays. And I think there will be a lot of really great players today that have the lock button clicked on Josh Jacobs, or at least 60, 70% where they're just way over the field on it. But go ahead, JT Hayes. I'll kick it over to you. Talk about some of these guys that are owned, and then sort of your thoughts around other guys at running back on the slate.
Yeah, Jacobs Eckler makes just so much sense. I mean, you look at the volume here, Jacobs 18, 33, and then 27 touches the last 3 games. He's healthy. I don't think he was fully healthy the last couple of years. Houston just gives up a ton of points on the ground, the most points to opposing running backs. Makes a ton of sense here. Eckler, we talked about his touches. Another note on Keenan Allen, because we're talking about him, and that's another game that I wrote up, is that, again, Allen would like to wait until after the bye. The team wants him to play today. The news out of practice was that they were designing, what he was doing in practice was mostly goal line plays. So you got to factor that in too, is if Allen plays and he's going to be a goal line type guy, what does that do to the rest of this offense? Does it take away from Eckler a little bit? Possibly could, but I think you're going to get 20 touches out of him. I don't care about the price against this defense, so I like him quite a bit. In the other side of that Vegas game, Dameon Pierce, Lovie Smith has come out and said, hey, he's got to carry the ball 20 times a week. We've got to get him at least 20 carries. So he's interesting in a very high total, a good game script there. And then you go to Kenneth Walker that we talked about. Chargers giving up a ton of points on the ground as well. And I've got one name that is really tough to click on, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it, and I want your guys' opinion because I think it's really hard to play. It's probably one of the top 3 matchups in the NFL. but he's been kind of in a split carry situation. Can we play Zeke Elliott today at 6K?
It's funny you brought that up. I was going to bring him up later. It's crazy. The matchup is so good on paper, and he's $200 more than Kenneth Walker. I understand Pollard is there, and I think Pollard is the better player, but when you look at some of the touches, things like that, where you could see Zeke just fall into the end zone 2 or 3 times, and it ends up being a passing game for Geno Smith and the Seahawks, that's a really good way to leverage it. So if you wanted to play, here's an example where people are like, oh, Geno at that ownership, you can't do it. It's how you play it. If you play Geno, one of Lockett or Metcalf, and a guy like Fant, who I'll talk more about later, which is a good spot, and then you, instead of playing Kenneth Walker, play the running back that sort of would fill his spot and beat his points, not the same game, but it's a similar price point pivot in a stack that you're basically double leveraging. You're saying, I'm not playing Walker, and I'm playing a guy that pivots off him too. So I do stuff like that all the time. We talk about it on the Monday review show that we do here free, where we're looking for angles like that to try and leverage up on the slate. But AP, your thoughts on Zeke right quick, or other guys in that range if you didn't want to play some of the others there?
I mean, I think it's a guessing game between kind of him and Pollard. Pollard looking like the better running back, Zeke being the one that gets more volume. So it's a true kind of 50-50 coin flip for me. I do think one of the guys gets there. I'm just not confident in which one. I'm far more confident in Jacobs and Eckler and Kenneth Walker. I do think Saquon Barkley as a pivot off of Eckler, so go Jacobs Barkley instead of Jacobs Eckler is a very interesting, way to attack this slate. We have yet to see Saquon break a slate despite how good he's looked. And we know he has that type of upside, 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Actually, week 1, he did go absolutely off. But since then, it's just been good games out of him, really good games. He looks really good. So it would not be surprising at all if he ran for 100 and a touchdown, caught a ball, broke one off, and scored again. So Saquon is really interesting too.
Yeah, I will say this too, and also this is the next topic for you guys in the chat. If you think DFS Underground should take a hike, hit the like button, because that guy is a donkey. It's so annoying.
Can we talk about him? Can we talk about him? I got.
We can.
He said he wins 100K on the regular. Take a hike.
He was on the show. Yeah, he was in chat last night in the Millie chat, just all night, just trolling. Woke up early, trolling again.
Buddy, start a stream.
It's 9:15 in the morning on the East Coast, and you wake up with this level of negativity. DFS Underground. First of all, hit the like button if you agree with this. Other people in chat. DFS Underground is the quintessential 400-pound dude in the fucking basement, sitting there with shit-stained underwear and a wife beater and a country crock size volume of ice cream, shoveling it into his mouth while he brings this negativity. Get the fuck out of here, DFS Underground. Go home.
Gone.
Go away.
He's gone. I got something that you might be interested in. Now that that's dealt with, I got something that you might be interested in. The chat just caught on to it a little bit, I think, but there is one guy looking to set franchise records today, coming off 3 straight games with 6, 5, and 2 targets when he normally doesn't get targets, and 3 straight games with 25 plus DraftKings points. Derrick Henry is in a good spot today. I like it. No Leonard on the other side. I think Leonard might be in, actually. I got to wait and see on that one, but I thought it was something news on him. But either way, forget that. Point being, I think he's going to get in the box. I do like that one. We just hit the fastest 500 likes ever because of this, so we love to see it in the chat. We're over 1,000 watching now, so good work to everybody out there. But I think I will say this: as much as I love Jacobs, and he's in my lineups, trust me, my highest owned running back today, I've got other guys: Derrick Henry, Fournette, Damian Pierce, Breece Hall. Don't forget about him. Joe Mixon as a good spot when people are going those Burrow stacks. You could easily see it set up well for Mixon here, where he gets in a couple times. I said it last week. And then lastly, I don't love this play because it's against the Ravens, and you guys know I love the Ravens, but the Ravens get run all over too. And I was thinking of this one last night, but Big T's been on me all year about playing Hunt. So why don't I just switch it up this one time and go to Nick Chubb and just finally play the good running back, the guy that actually runs all over them. So I think it's a good spot in here to get after him. If you wanted to play him, go ahead.
You know who was also on or talking Nick Chubb up last night, who's a huge Ravens homer? Our boy Snyder. Yeah. Our 2 Ravens guys are talking up Nick Chubb. I made fun of Snyder for the call, by the way. I mean, Nick Chubb in this economy, spitting shares, damn, I don't think we can do it, man.
It is very scary. What it is really skip last game, 28, 24, 20, 32. Like the guy just puts up, he gets the touches. And the other thing is for the Ravens, I think it's official now. I'm not sure if he's out, but left tackle being out again, right? If you've got that situation on their offensive side on the ball, the defense could get to them a little bit more. You could pair those two together. We just saw the Giants D get after them last week. You're leveraging a little bit because a lot of people that are playing that side are playing Lamar and they're playing Andrews. So you're going against that some, and it could really also work in your Lamar stacks. If you want to speed up the pace on a guy like Lamar and in that game, why not get Chubb bust an 80-yarder to the house early on, start that pace off quick, and then you've got, again, he's like my eighth top guy as far as my percentages go right now, but I'm just saying in general, I wanted to bring him up because I do think he's interesting. JT, is there other guys you want to talk about here at the running back position before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, Chubb is interesting to me as well. And when I was looking at some optos, they're spitting out the Browns defense as leverage against that Lamar Jackson chalk. So interesting play there to pair them with Chubb. And then you mentioned Mixon, and Mixon, Samaj Pirine has been getting a little bit more work, but it's really not the kind of work that is going to take away from a Mixon upside game. Falcons bottom 3 in the NFL against passes out of the backfield to the running back. That's something that the Falcons defense got a little pressure on Jimmy G last week. They've been getting pressure. They've been playing better defensively. We'll talk about that when we get to the receiver position, but I think Mixon could be sneaky here in this game with everyone going Burrow Chase. Maybe you go Mixon, Higgins, Hurst, something like that. I think that's pretty interesting to me here, given the way the matchup sets up.
Yeah, and before we go to wide receiver, AP, the chat has to get your take on the mentioned Isaiah Pacheco starting today, supposedly for Kansas City. I think you have a good take on it, so I'll kick it over to you to talk about your Chiefs in that spot.
I mean, I don't really understand what that changes for this offense. It's always been like, man, they've given all of these guys, like McKinnon has a big role. Unless CH was inactive, which I don't think he is, correct me if I'm wrong. If he was inactive, that changes things, but he isn't. They're going to work all 3 guys in. They want to keep them fresh. They got a bye coming up next week. If KC can steal a win on the road and go into the bye healthy, that's going to be the absolute goal of this team because their schedule's brutal this year. So, I mean, if I'm playing 150, would I have him in the mix? Potentially, yeah, but I don't like 4,700. If he gets you 65 on the ground, doesn't get in the box, I mean, man, you're kind of dead, I think, on this slate at the running back position because we have these guys in such elite spots. So I'm not that high on him, but again, like if he makes your build just look completely mint and you like every other piece to it, last man in, something like that, I mean, maybe it works. I almost like JT Hayes' idea. And if you are going that route where you need a value, why not target like a guy like Mills to Collins or Cooks, and Jacobs and get some correlation in there with a running back that we know is going to get a ton of work.
The chat just told me that Shaq Leonard did get ruled out. So I already loved Henry. So spoiler alert, we'll get to it more later, but I think he's going to smash today. So I like that play quite a bit.
Henry's the other up there with Saquon, man. Great call by you, Tambo.
I just think when you've got, again, I love Eckler too, but I'm putting Eckler in the spots that he makes sense in. Could make sense everywhere. He has a good ceiling. Like JT Hayes said, he's going to get all those touches. If Allen's out, even better for a guy like him, just that safety net for Herbert and then what he can do with the ball. But I do think that having a guy like Henry there is a good spot that you can go to. You can pay him. You can pair him with the Titans defense as well. Just because if you're going after Matt Ryan, I don't know if he's going to throw 57 times again or whatever it was. I don't think he's going to try and do that. He'll probably get crushed, but I do think that is a way that you could go about it. And then just using some of those pay up options to mix around Jacobs versus a lot of others are going to play Jacobs and Walker together because they're both cheap and they both get all the touches. I think that's another way that you could do it. Let's move on though. JT, I'm going to come back to you, man. Go to wide receiver. So to your point earlier, like I was saying, and it's what I thought, I'm seeing the ownership right now. Jamar Chase looks around 13, 14, 15 in certain places. T. Higgins slightly more based on the discount. And then, of course, CeeDee Lamb is just super popular at 6,800. So Godwin, Metcalf, the Seattle guys, Williams, all those guys sort of rounded out. What are you seeing here at the wide receiver chalk?
Yeah, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, great matchup. Can't argue against it, right? Devontae Adams, same thing. Really, really good matchup here against Houston. On the other side of that, you've got Cooks and then AP's guy, Nico Collins, who's in a very, very good spot at a great price point here in this matchup. Michael Gallup in the game, same game as CD. I mean, if you were going to go Dak with a double stack, that has worked out against the Lions almost every single week. I think it even worked out for the Patriots a couple of weeks ago. So I like that. I like T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins because AJ Terrell for the Falcons has done a really good job against opposing wide receiver ones. He kept Deebo Samuel in check last week, kept Amari Cooper in check 2 weeks ago. I think if he limits Chase a bit, you could see one of these T. Higgins ceiling games where people are kicking themselves because they played Chase instead of him. Big news too, if Hunter Renfrow is still questionable there for the Raiders, so that could bring Mac Hollins into play in this matchup as well. You mentioned the Tampa Bay guys. It's interesting because they are all priced up, but with Mike Evans coming off a dud, I think that's interesting. He usually does work against these other teams in the NFC South. Alan Lazard, 17 targets his last 2 games. Matchup there. We don't know how hurt exactly Rodgers is, but it's a great matchup. And then DK Metcalf, 6.6K on DraftKings. Reports out of Seattle are that maybe this hamstring issue with Tyler Lockett is a bigger deal than previously reported, which would be no surprise with the way that these NFL injuries are underreported. So DK Metcalf is very interesting to me there. And Cooks, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, one note just came out. So Jahan Dotson ruled out. So Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin with Heineke is a thing. I know that's talked about in the chat. So I definitely think you can mix those guys in as one-offs, or if you wanted to get a secondary stack in. I know on FanDuel, where like I said earlier, it's very tough to find value. And look, it's a split. There's big risk there. But if you wanted to play a guy like Samuel, you could get in an A.J. Dillon for maybe some goal line touchdowns, or Aaron Jones is really still a bit of a value over there as well. So I think that's a good little secondary stack. Dallas, going back to it here, the Lamb thing, our girl DGA says in chat, she says Prescott and Lamb aren't really a thing. Maybe until they are a thing. That's what I would say about that. Like, again, it just depends what you see happening. I do think our guy Matty Ice was in there talking about Gallup. I like Gallup quite a bit. So, he said there's no love. There's going to be love. I definitely like setting it up with Dak. You can go to Gallup. You can go to Schultz and get a little bit cheaper way to that stack without the lamb chop, get it? And you go to that, set it up with a run back on the other side. I prefer steak over lamb chop. That's what I said. So if you get off the lamb chop, you can play the stack a different way. I'm good with that. But AP, who are some of the guys that you want to play elsewhere besides some of this chalk? Because I always think with wide receiver chalk, there's a way to get different. I prefer to stick with it more at running back than at wide receiver. Go ahead. Who are some of the other guys that you like?
Yeah, I gotta add one comment in with CeeDee Lamb and the Dallas situation here. I mean, this Lions team is, man, I mean, they gave up a 100-yard game to Jacoby Myers. I mean, was that his first ever career 100-yard game? And CeeDee Lamb does not have a 100-yard game yet on the season, which is very surprising to me, given the target share, the volume. Cooper Rush obviously throwing him the ball, but he looked fine in a few of those games. Yeah, I hate siding with kind of the cash bros. It feels like I've been siding with them quite a lot on this slate, but it's hard to argue against CeeDee Lamb here. The volume's going to be there, unless okay. So what's a game script where CeeDee Lamb doesn't get there? Maybe it's Michael Gallup, like you guys said. Maybe it's this, Dallas defense, which is arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. Maybe they just absolutely shut the Lions down. The game, maybe the game falls under the total. We see a combo of Pollard and Zeke getting, equal shares, and it's kind of a grounded out type of game. I don't know. I mean, that hasn't happened much with these Lions games. So what I'm getting at is, if you play CeeDee Lamb, I think the way to get contrarian, run it back with one of these receivers. Not many people are going to do that because Dallas is so good defensively. Amon-Ra St. Brown, probably the guy to do it. And he's expensive. He's 7.1K. So that's going to be one easy way to get unique in eating some CeeDee Lamb chalk. again, I'm going back to Chase. So I see T. Higgins is the more popular guy between him and Chase. Probably a price thing, 6.4K compared to 8.2K. I love these Burrows to Chase stacks. We saw it go nuts last week. I think that connection was reestablished, and that the upside that you get with a Burrow to Chase is just so high. I mean, we've seen it in the Millie Maker winner multiple times now, going back to last season and last week this year. So that's one I really like. JT, you sold me on this Davis Mills play, but mainly Nico Collins. I think he's an incredible value. Obviously, Brandon Cooks is fine there too. The Raiders just so bad in their secondary. They just get absolutely torched through the air. We see it week in, week out. I don't think that changes here, even with Davis Mills throwing the ball. So I have a ton of interest there. And then, Tyler Lockett, that's something to monitor too, because at 5.8K, if he's good to go, he's always a guy that gets a lot of ownership. And DK, like, he's always priced a little bit higher, the more athletic dude. Everyone, for some reason, they're always playing Lockett over DK. So I have a ton of interest in DK Metcalf. My main thing at receiver is I want to make sure that I'm correlating with the quarterback that I'm with. So that's going to leave me with a lot of Jamar Chase. It's going to leave me with a lot of Mike Williams and DK Metcalf. So that's kind of where I'm going to be. And my favorite value, obviously, Nico Collins today in a run back with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I want to check one thing. The other guy, like you just mentioned, I think from what I was going to say first off is that, that's how I'm setting up as well. So again, if you're playing a lot of Herbert, you're going to get guys like Mike Williams. You're going to get DeAndre Carter. You're going to get some of those guys in there. If you're playing Dak, you're going to get Gallup, who we talked about already, Lamb, all of those ones where you're setting it up. And then Houston, like I said, Mills, Cooks, Nico Collins. So some of the other guys, the big one, JT Hayes, I got to go to you for this. It's your guy, but that's the other reason why I really wasn't on Dak heavily. But when you want to play Amon-Ra, I thought about the Goff side of things just to get different, but I really think it's just Amon-Ra. People kept saying to me, but Travion Diggs is there and all that. One thing about Diggs, I will say this, and why I kind of love Amon-Ra St. Brown, is he loves to cheat. He jumps. He wants to take chances. He wants to get there, and that can be a big problem if he skips one or makes a mistake. Again, he could pick one and take it to the house too. We'll talk about Dallas D at $4,000 later on, but that's the whole point, is if a guy like Amon-Ra can get open on him and he's jumping, he could be on his way to the house. And I know he's 7,100, but when you run like a Dak, Gallup, Schultz, his guys that he likes, and then the other side have Amon-Ra, you still have the money to put all these running backs in. So I do think that makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, JT Hayes, Amon-Ra, and then some other guys you like at this position.
Yeah, it's interesting, that price point. I mean, it's a tough play. I almost think if you were going to do it now with DJ Chark going on IR, maybe you do it with Reynolds, right? Reynolds has been getting a ton of targets there. I love Amon-Ra. The upside is definitely there. And if you're going to do that, I think you're going to get him, you're going to get him at like 5%, if that, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, yeah, I mean, only other thoughts here. I think I like that AP gets on board with Davis Mills because it lets him play Nico Collins in a stack. So I like that.
Yeah.
And then we got someone, Tambo. I don't know if you've got, a multiple personality issue, but someone in chat is referencing Rambo. And I didn't know you were Rambo, but this is fantastic.
No, for NBA last week, we called it the Tambo Rambo Lambo play of the day. And it's going to be a Lamborghini with Rambo with the gun and the bullet strapped. With my face with the tie hanging off the top. And that's going to be the play of the week. Every Wednesday, the Wednesday crew, beyond myself, Title, and Locks. Me and Locks shipped the same night, actually. The night I won on FanDuel, he won on DraftKings. So the Wednesday crew starting out the season strong. But yeah, I like that call. That's a good one. Some of the other one-offs I had, really disgusting. But if you want to play DJ Moore, you don't have to run back a Brady stack at all. But if you are playing them, I'll run back some with DJ Moore. Obviously, I got Evans and Godwin for that reason. I'm with AP. I'm going back to MVS, even if it's as a one-off or as a secondary stack with Kittle or something like that. I want to get a piece of that game. I do have interest there. Romeo Doubs. I know people are clamoring for Sammy Watkins being back at 3,000. That's fine, but I do prefer Doubs still, so I'll go there. Debo looks like a really good play on this slate. I know CMC is likely to play, and they're going to set it up. I will say this about that situation because it ties the both together, but they said this last year, week 1, about Trey Lance. We're going to have some packages set up for him. He got a rushing touchdown. That was it. and the game was like 41-38. Like, I don't know. It doesn't mean it's the same. It's a stupid sample. My point being, I wouldn't get too excited about it for that reason. I also wouldn't worry too much about it. You know, they still want to use Debo. And if anything, well, that can affect his usage. The way they use Debo is high upside. So, man, if he gets now, the defense has to worry about CMC out there too, on top of all the rest of them. I think Debo could find his way up to the top as well. So I do like that. AP, anything else you want to talk about before we move to tight end?
Yeah, one other guy to have, I think, in your Millie Maker exposure is Wan'Dale Robinson. He only played 22% of the snaps last week, and only ran 10 routes. But on those 10 routes, he was targeted 4 times, fell in the end zone, 3 catches. You have to think that the snap count works up a little bit. He's just such a talented dude. Played in Nebraska, then Kentucky. The guy has skills, a gadget guy they can use in so many different ways. The one concern is, we don't know how much he's going to be on the field. But what we do know is when he is on the field, they're going to be looking his way.
Yeah, guys, just about 550 likes, but almost 1,300 watching. So we did hit the record for the 500. We've slowed down. I know a lot of you have just joined us late. So while we round out tight end and defense, we got to get to 750 to get to those plays of the day. So fastest 750, if you're wondering, would be 9 minutes from now. So 1,300 watching, we can get there. It's only 750, but 9 minutes to go. Now 8 minutes to go. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe. JT, anything else at wide receiver? If not, let's move to tight end, my friend. What do you got?
Yeah, I'll start in that Charger game with Parham out, with Palmer out, with whatever Allen is going to do. Gerald Everett at 4K. He's a guy that already gets targets in this offense, and now I think he's got an opportunity to get some more. We talked about Dalton Schultz in the Dallas game, 3.6K for a guy that when Prescott is on the field, he looks his way a ton. Hayden Hurst in a matchup against the Falcons. We saw that George Kittle got targeted 10 times last week against this team. The Falcons are soft defensively against opposing tight ends, and Hurst was very chippy this week to the press, talking about how he felt he didn't get to show everything he had in Atlanta, so perhaps a little bit of motivation there for him. I'm probably going to fade the high-priced tight ends in Andrews and Kelsey. I think if I was going to play one, it'd probably be Andrews for the cheaper price point. Cade Otton in that Tampa Bay offense is 2.7 with Brate out, so that's interesting there. And then 2 guys, Chris Randone's guy, Greg Dulcich for Denver. He's the only Bronco that I would consider playing today, but he's just 2.5. And the guy who's been getting into the end zone, and he's been getting some looks in an offense that the coach, Brian DeBall, has a history of involving his tight ends, building up his tight ends. We've seen what he's done with Dawson Knox in Buffalo, and Daniel Bellinger is 3.4 for a punt in a game that I'm not going to have a ton of pieces in, but I think he's got a shot here to pay off that price tag.
I love Daniel Bellinger, actually. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think he's a guy that you can use on his own. You can use him in a secondary stack if you wanted to play one of those Jacksonville guys, whether it's Christian Kirk or Travis Etienne, any of those spots there. I think that one makes sense. Foster Moreau, Cade Otton, Dulcich, guys like that, even Everett now, AP are moving up the board. I think you have a really good off the chalk play. By the way, Everett revenge game too. Talked about the Hurst spot, but Everett is also in that. But AP, what do you got here at the tight end position?
Yeah, tight end is kind of interesting. You know, obviously I'm going to look at Kelsey first. The only tight end to have some success against the 49ers this season was Tyler Higbee, and it was a pure volume type thing. I think he had 10 receptions, 73 yards, didn't get in the box. If he gets in the box there, he produces a nice DK score for us. That is kind of what the expectation is probably for Kelsey. Kelsey at 8K. God, I mean, man, he's got to be very low owned on this slate. Like it seems like it's very, very difficult to get him. So in tournaments, yeah, I mean, it's hard not to want to try to find a way to get Kelsey in there. Throw in the narrative too. This probably isn't even on his mind. I mean, the game is on his mind. But if he gets over 100 yards today, I think he ties the record for most with Gronk, most 100 yards games in a season. So if you like narratives, there you go. There's a narrative for there's a narrative for him. Man, you know, who knows? With Mahomes, if things are rolling, maybe they give him some extra touches there. But so I'm going to look, like when I finalize my builds, I'm going to take a look and see what those builds look like. Very difficult to do, though. I do like George Kittle, too. You got to love the volume that he saw last week. I think the matchup is good, too. KC, They do get Willie Gay back, I believe. And so that, their linebacker core is getting a little bit better, but they have, given up a couple good games to tight ends. So we could see Kittle have himself a game. There's just in this game, though, there's so many different weapons. It makes it very difficult, very unpredictable. So like, if I can't find anything I really like, I have no problem moving off of those guys. I mean, JT, like, can I even bring his name up, this Kyle Pitts dude, or do we just move over him? Probably move over him. I mean,
no, I mean, bring his name up. Bring his name up.
I mean, he got in the box last week. He got in the box last week. Yeah, I mean, all right. So in Burrow stacks, that is one of the obvious run backs, but I don't necessarily have to run it back with anyone. I would be pretty content with Burrow to chase with no run backs. But if I were to run it back, it'd have to be Drake London or Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts will definitely be in my player pool. I just don't know how high I am on him. I mean, it's just, man, we have yet to see anything from him. He's been extremely painful. So I will say, so the Chargers, if Keenan Allen gets ruled out, we're going to see more double tight end sets. Parham, he's inactive today, but they used him a lot last week. They were, really trying to get him the ball. Trey McKitty, not McTitty, McKitty, 2.5K is the Millie Maker pivot I like off of guys like Cade Otton, off of guys like Greg Dulcich. I think that they get McKitty more run today. Just going back a few games, we saw it too. I think he had like a 40 to 50% snap share. So I think now with Parham out, we're going to see more McKitty, and he makes it easy for those. If I want to go Herbert, Mike Williams, throw McKitty in there and, it frees up a lot. Or Herbert, Austin Eckler, McKitty. So that's going to be one of my, I'm not going crazy on him or anything like that, but that's going to be one of my sneaky punt tight end plays that I'm going to be on today.
I do like that, guys. 650 likes, only 100 shy of the plays of the day. Got about 8 minutes left. We're going to be wrapping this thing up. So real quick on this position. So I mentioned earlier, Foster Moreau, probably my fourth or fifth favorite in tournaments. I get in cash games why people are pushing them in or other spots. This is where I said I could easily see this today where someone just stacks a little differently and still has Jacobs and Moreau, because Moreau gets you 9 or 12 points and Jacobs gets 2 or 3 touchdowns and does what he does at that price. I could see it. I'm saying where that would happen, and that's how people play him. I prefer to overstack with the Davis Mills side with those guys and mix and match. Don't love it otherwise. I like Schultz. I like Mark Andrews still. I like Dulcich. I like Cade Otton. Great out. I talked about even with outside the Brady stuff, he to me runs a lot of routes. Bellinger is in there. And then Everett in my stacks there. That's sort of where I'm at. Evan Ingram was one that the chat brought up, and I thought that's interesting as well. I think that's a potential play there on the Jacksonville side. But JT Hayes, was there anybody else at tight end you wanted to talk about before we get these last 100 likes, go through defense, and hit our plays of the day?
No, nothing. Shark Killer G in the chat says that you don't even have to smash the like button. You just have to gently touch it. So go ahead. If you haven't done so yet, gently touch the like button. Let's get to 1,000.
A little caress action. I like that. Yeah, just caress it. Just nice. What do you got? Anything else at tight end, or you want to go to defense?
Let me make one last comment, just because it's like an opportunity cost situation, because these punt tight ends are going to be very popular. If you think of ownership, across the slate, you're going to have like Cade Otton, Foster Moreau. I mean, these guys are going to be in a lot of lineups. If they bust, and let's just say Kelsey or a guy, Mark Andrews, obviously, if they go nuts, the opportunity cost is going to be massive. You're going to want those guys at that position in your lineups.
Yeah, that's exactly another good point that you brought up there. Like I said earlier, if you can get to it, just what ends up happening is it becomes very tough. And if it's almost like it's us against the world situation, because there is like 5 to 7 tight ends that you could punt to today that you could see actually hitting 10 plus, in my opinion, just the way it works out, PPR, good game environments, all that stuff, versus what do Kelsey and Kittle and Andrews and those types of guys do at the bit higher price tags, of course. But JT Hayes, we'll go to defense. Big conversation here with the Jets. I want to talk about it for that's why I wanted to save a little bit of time, because it's not, I guess it's the Carolina versus the Rams that week. It's kind of like the Bengals that week. Like, it looks like it's going to get up there quite a bit because we have the backup, right? Brett Ripien in there. We've got a bit of a situation here, and the Jets D is actually good, as we know. So how do you see this playing out? What are your thoughts on the Jets D first? And then we can talk about some others as well.
Yeah, so you have a couple of things working in the Jets' defense favor, right? The first is they are much improved. I mean, this is Robert Saleh, the head coach, came over from Niners, the defensive coordinator. He built the Niners defense. He's remodeled it here in New York, right? So that's number one. Number two, you mentioned it. You got a backup quarterback who's a career backup, right? This isn't an ascending kid. It's a career backup. The third thing is you've got some of the most god-awful coaching going on right now on the Denver Broncos. You've got a lot of key pieces that are out there. So 2-6, I'm going to have a lot of them, but there are a couple of other ones that I like, and we'll go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another pretty good defense against a team that is in total disarray. Just traded their franchise player. They traded a wide receiver who got pissed off at the head coach a few days before that. Yeah, they're expensive, but with some of these players, especially the lower price tight end, maybe the Davis Mills lineup, you can easily fit the 3.9K Tampa Bay Bucks. And then the third one I'll mention here is the Tennessee Titans. We've got Matt Ryan going outdoors, and that has been a recipe for disaster for him and a recipe for success for opposing defenses. And this has been the last 3 years of his career, but just so far this year, 2 games outdoors, he's produced a total of 12 fantasy points, 5 interceptions, no touchdowns. Tennessee's defense is actually pretty decent as well.
Yeah, I like that call. AP, I'll ask you the same question. We got a few minutes here just because we're about to hit 700 likes. So I think we're going to get to the 750. But real quick, so here's to me, AP, and then you give your thoughts. The pros, they might shut them out. We're talking Jets versus Denver. They literally might shut them out. It's just possible. Denver's so bad, slow type of game. They just do that. Again, that's not why I look for defenses. I'm looking for opportunities. The other pro is that if they do get up, the Jets, Breece Hall's look better. They find their way to get up, then he might have to throw. The cons, though, to me would be, JT mentioned it. One, he's not some up-and-comer that we're looking to see chuck the ball around and see what he's got. The other side of it is they also have a healthy Gordon, a healthy Boone, and a healthy Latavius Murray that they might just run the ball all day. Even if they're down 14-0, they might just try and run it because let's just see what we can do. Let's get out of this game and see what happens. Again, they'll have to throw it at some point, but that doesn't mean a lot of opportunities. And that's what would worry me about the Jets at this high ownership. There is some other options. So give me your Jets take at chalk, comparable to others, and then talk about some of the ones that you like beyond them.
I completely forgot. I got made fun of last night on the Millie show for talking about the way you get different here, because the Jets defense is good. They're going to be massive chalk. Is what it is. If you're a fader of chalk and you want to go that, a defense on the road in a situation like this, backup quarterback, I mean, we've seen these spots get up to 30, 35% ownership. If you're just a natural fader of that, why not go Broncos defense? This Broncos defense is carrying this team right now. They, kept Justin Herbert out of the end zone last week. They looked phenomenal. And why not go Latavius Murray in there too? I mean, they want to get I got made fun of because, we don't fully know what the situation is. What we do know is Melvin Gordon is not good at all. Did not even see the field in the second half. I don't know if that was injury or what, but Latavius Murray did look good, looked explosive. You got to think and Mike Boone, I don't know. I didn't think he looked that good. I thought the dude that just came in and Latavius Murray looked like the best running back out of that backfield. So I don't think it's is it risky? Yeah. Is it more of a Millie type of thing to do? Yeah, for sure it is because of the running backs on the slate. But we've seen crazier things happen. If the Jets defense were to fail, it would be due to the Broncos just pounding the rock and controlling the clock. And, maybe their defense creates some turnovers there. So I have some interest in the Broncos defense. I think they're priced somewhat fairly. And then, back to the Jets side. The Jets side is perfectly fine. I also think you could talk about the 49ers defense there too, 2,700. I know it going against the Chiefs. And then I think you could talk about the Chiefs defense too. I think both defenses are going to be aggressive today. I know Kansas City has to. Spagnuolo has to bring the house to protect Jalen Watson. They're really bad cornerback that is going to be out there again. And we saw Allen attack him constantly last week when they left him on an island. So, the thing is now it's not Josh Allen that you're worried about. It's Jimmy G, who's way slower and not good at all. So I think Spagnuolo is just going to bring the house. I'm definitely looking at defenses in that game.
Yeah, I've never loved a defense pool so much as this week on this season. I'll give them all to you guys because I'm feeling nice. I like this spot, but my favorite defense, nobody mentioned it yet. The chat caught on. Everyone wants to play this Jets D versus a backup quarterback. Guess what? Taylor Heineke's a backup right now for Carson Wentz. He's coming in there. Green Bay D, this guy Heineke has 4 or 5 games with over two interceptions in the last year, 3 games with over 2 fumbles in the last year. Like, this guy just gives it up on all fronts. Multiple, I think he has like an average of over 1 interception per game. Green Bay, I don't care if they're good or bad on paper. It's the matchup for me. I think it looks really good. I love the Titans. We talked about it already. I love the Buccaneers and paying up. You can still find the money for a $3,900 D. I like the Broncos as the opposite side of the chalk D, and for the reasons you guys mentioned. I like the Giants going up against Trevor Lawrence. And then lastly, I like the Falcons going up. They've been a covering machine. How do they do it? The defense gets involved. It's ugly, but they're cheap, and they leverage that Cincinnati side of the game. Last one, the Browns going up against Lamar. Again, another leverage play, way less on the Jags, Browns, and Falcons. But those ones at the top, I really like quite a bit. And I think that's how you get there today. I think one of those first 4 I mentioned are on the winner. Anything else, JT Hayes, you want to talk about here? We got to get out of here.
No, that does it.
Hurtful. 715 likes. So we couldn't get to it. But AP, I'm feeling nice. I think it's been a great show. Almost 1,500 watching. We love you guys. We appreciate your support. AP, let's do the plays of the day for the people. It's always good.
So he's been a play of the day for me before. I can go back to him only because this guy, DFS Underground, was just absolutely trashing the pick. And JT Hayes owned this guy, absolutely owned him. And JT Hayes talked about the quarterback, how he likes him to pair and correlate with him. I'm going back to Nico Collins, 4.2K. Got to go value. That's going to be my value play of the day.
Yeah, I love that call. Like I said, I'm all over it in multiple ways, but especially with the Davis Mills. Someone said in the chat earlier, how do you win a milli without Mills? You're right. It almost doesn't make sense. So I actually do love that call. JT Hayes.
Yeah, I'm going to be all in on Davis Mills after the show. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. JT Hayes, what do you got, man? We got Morningwood coming up next.
Yeah, I know that the projections say that he's going to be more owned than Chase. I just don't care. I think this is a spot where you see that the offense is going to run through Mixon. It's going to run through T. Higgins. I'm going to go with T. Higgins today as the Eiffel Tower play of the day.
And I'm going with the guy I hinted at it earlier. You know, the most passionate hype I had today on anybody was Mr. Derrick Henry. I don't care. He's 8,200. The price is good. He's in a good spot. The matchup is great. They're trying to jam him for 2 touchdowns to get the franchise record. He's been getting targets, 3 straight games over 25 DraftKings points. Use him on both sites. I love him. I think he's a great play today. I think he smashes. You guys smashed it. You guys got us to just about 750 likes. We're ready to go 6 to midnight with the Morningwood coming up next. So stick around. We got Crain, Hoop, Big T, all Millie Maker winners. If you're looking to get some tournament action in this week, some cash action, everything's there. That's going to do it for this week, though, guys. For JT Hayes, for AP, for Simon behind the scenes, I'm Toe Tagging Tambo. Simon, get us out of here, man. What's up, guys? Tambo here with your Week 6 core report. It's an exciting time to be a RunPureSports member as we parlay another big week of winning with the start of the NBA season. Here's a recap of last week. No sports were off limits for winners this past week. Relay 20 hit for $8K on the NASCAR slate. Brad Combe won $5K in an MLB playoff slate. Max Hankins gave a preview of what members can expect, shipping for $21,000 in NBA preseason. Big T had another big week, hitting for over $37,000 in CFB. For the NFL main slate, GK 2400 won over $10K on FanDuel, while our guy Locks shipped an NFL Live final seat. But the biggest wins came on Monday Night Football, when the top of the leaderboard was littered with RPS logos again. JSU led the way with his core plays featuring Captain Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert and Joshua Palmer in the flex. His winning lineup was topped off with Russell Wilson and Dustin Hopkins, as well as low-owned $200 Greg Dulcich, who was talked up big on our free Monday Night Football Showdown show by special guest Chris Rando.
He's fast. He runs like a 4.7 40, and he can actually play the slot. He gives very difficult matchup situations. He's fast. He's got hands. Don't be surprised tonight if maybe he's out there in the mix and, he gets, a few catches and, who knows what happens.
This is your weekly reminder to head on over to our YouTube page and hit subscribe to access all of our great free content. Our guy Johnny AirPods wasn't the only one repping RPS at the top, shipping for over $50K. Matt Attack Lax ran the same lineup twice, shipping for over $95,000. Phil Mike's bra also shipped for $10,000, while Nuggets hit for $14,000. Now is the time to join us. Head on over to RunPureSports.com and sign up for a membership today. Again, all sports are included for one price, and NBA starts this week. You won't want to miss out when our team gets hot during hoop season. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Till next time, let's keep running pure.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday and welcome to the Morning Wood over here on Run Pure Sports. I'm Eric Crain. I am joined, as I am every single Sunday, by my boys. We got Big T and Hoop. Tony, how you doing today, man?
Always good when I get to see your two mugs on a Sunday morning. It means we're another weekend. It is crazy how quick NFL goes every single
We're
season.
already halfway through, man.
It's nuts how quick it goes. It's because these damn showdowns, they're what gets us through. Like if it was just Sundays, it wouldn't go as quick, but man, you got action almost every night. Now with NBA too, over at Run Pure. Busy times, lots of winners.
Yes, sir. And Hoop, I know you've been having some of those winners. Congrats on the big MMA hit yesterday.
Yeah, it was awesome. Huge win for it was probably like a 50 some way chop. But yeah, I mean the MMA was great card. I mean, lived up to it. Unfortunately, our guy Charles Oliveira just got his ass whooped. I mean, it was not even close. Me and Big T were on the Oliveira side, and he just got dominated. I don't see how anyone beats Islam. We were kind of talking about it a little bit before, just a dominant performance. But yeah, NFL, I mean, just cruising right along. I mean, it's crazy. Like you guys said, how fast it goes. What is this, week 7, right?
It's already week 7, yeah.
Yeah, it's at week 7. It's not going to slow down, but the nice thing is, a lot of time to continue picking the winners. NBA off to an absolutely scorching start here at Run Pure. I mean, the first 3 slates fully shipped by Run Pure members. And it's not going to slow down anytime soon.
All right, so guys, this is what we're doing. We have got 1,300 people watching. We appreciate you. Welcome. We have a good time here over at Run Pure Sports. We are fired up to get some of these likes. So right now we have 769. We're going to be a little ambitious today. That sound good? I know Hoop likes the ambition. I know Hoop likes to punish the people for not clicking the like button. So this is what we're going to do. We're going for 1,300 likes. So get in there, click that like button. I'm going to be following all along. So if you're watching, do your part, click that like button. It helps us out over at Run Pure Sports. And we're here to help you out to pick some NFL winners. Tony, you want to kind of give us an overview of the slate? Like, what do you think about this slate?
Yeah, it's the first slate where the bye weeks, I think, impact more than they have. There's a lot of good players on buys this week, a lot of upside quarterbacks, receivers. A lot of the guys I've been playing, the receivers are off this week. So got to get a little more creative. I think there's a bunch of heavy chalk this week that we can talk as we go through the slate, how to handle it, what to do with it. But I don't know. It seems like a super cut and dry week to me. I'm excited for it, though, because that presents opportunity in tournaments as well.
And Hoop, when you look at this slate, what do you see?
First thing that stands out to me, at the quarterback position, just looking like, and there's no standout clear play. Like we don't have Josh Allen. We don't have Jalen Hurts. A lot of people have just been riding those two. So I look at the position there and see ownership. It has to be really, really spread out at quarterback, which makes it very easy to get over the field on your guys. So that's, the one thing I'm definitely looking forward to. A lot of really clear plays to me at the running back position, guys that are just tough to fade. I mean, Josh Jacobs price tag on DK, I wish they would have done something, bumped it up a little bit. 6.5K just is an extreme value. I think a lot of people go there. And I think, some nice plays at wide receiver as well. So looking forward to the slate. I think it's a good one.
I got the quarterback for you guys. You guys don't even need anything else. I've got the quarterback for you.
Perfect.
It's going to be, it's going to take us a little bit of time to get there. So
okay,
you guys are going to have to stay tuned in. We're going to have to get those likes up. We're going to have to get the subscribers up. Click that like button. We're going to be hanging out with you for the next hour, having fun over at Run Pure Sports. But let's go ahead and kick it off with a game that Well, it's not so fun. It's the Packers at Washington, 41.5-point total. The Packers 4.5-point favorite. Hoop, I'm going to start with you because I've heard some people talk about Aaron Rodgers this week, and I don't want anything to do with it. I don't really want anything to do with this game. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the few games on the slate where I have literally no interest in just about anything. I mean, I'm going to have some of these guys in my player pool for 150. I'll have, Lazard, Dobbs, Tanyan. Tanyan's had some big games. On the other side, I'll have some Scary Terry. I mean, I'll continue to play him, even though he's been terrible all season. Maybe a little Samuel, but that's it. I mean, we're talking, guys that no one over like 10% from this game. It's just like one of the least appealing fantasy games. I don't want the running backs here. I don't want Aaron Jones. I don't want Dylan. So mostly a fade with just some small little pieces mixed in.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I have no interest here. Like, Aaron Jones is too much. Brian Robinson, I saw some people in the chat talking about him. No thanks. Maybe some Packers defense. They're talking about that in the chat. I don't hate that. If you can afford to spend up for a defense this week, which ain't the easiest thing in the world. Tony, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I mostly agree with you guys. It's just tough. Green Bay, I kept trying to make Green Bay happen. I think I've played Rodgers like 2 or 3 weeks this year. I keep trying to make it happen, and then when you actually sit down and watch the games, watch what's happening, you're like, why the hell did I play Aaron Rodgers? And you can't just keep making the same mistake over and over. He just doesn't look right. He doesn't look happy. The weapons don't look good. I don't know. They look terrible. So I'm not going to keep playing him. I'm going to make him beat me. Low total. I really just don't see a reason to go anywhere. I mean, you could play Lazard. He's the one guy that has been pretty good, but again, there's a lot of guys in that same range where could be a pivot, I guess, off some of the chalkier receivers, because I do think Lazard at least has upside. He's been solid. The matchup's good. So he would be my guy in this game. Washington, another team that, man, they just have looked bad. And now they got Heineke. Some people think that'll help. Wentz obviously didn't look great, but I can't imagine he's going to be better than Wentz. Maybe it's a draw, which isn't good either. I don't know. Don't see a lot here. I'm done with McLaurin too. I keep trying to make him happen like Rodgers. He just doesn't look comfortable out there. Just nothing's coming his way. Even if he gets there, I don't think he really goes off. We still need some upside at the receiver with how many underpriced guys there are. So, yeah, I mean, just Lazard for me here pretty much.
Yeah.
Crain, what a wild world that we live in here, where last year our guy Big T's touting Carson Wentz as a potential MVP winner to now comparing him and saying he's equal to Taylor Heineke.
Hey, you know what?
How times have changed.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. It's tough to admit you're wrong. Like in life, it's tough to say, you know what? I fucked.
Another tough thing is to not say the same joke 400 times over the last 2 years.
How long have we been? Listen, how long have we been boys for? It's been a while, right? If there's one thing you should know about Hoopster at this point, I reuse the shit out of material. I don't have much new material. I'll fucking recycle that shit over and over.
I've already taken the L, Craig, like 400 times about Wentz.
Hoop doesn't have good, like I said, I'm going to recycle the shit out of things.
People
I can't
still laugh every time, though, so it works.
Yeah, it's working a little bit.
Hey, funny's funny, man. Like,
I mean, I'd go to it, too. I still call JSU short once a week on the show. So
yeah.
I do the same thing, too, here and there.
Tony's still bringing up the basketball game from 2017. Like
I can't bring that up anymore because JSU owned me on that one game that time. I can bring it up to Mangone though, who took a couple blanks last week. I'll keep saying that.
Oh man,
you guys need to take him. Like I said, no more golfing with Mangone. How about that? Putt, miniature golf.
He shot what, like a 132 or something crazy?
I mean, it wasn't quite that high, but it felt like it was that high.
Man.
I mean, it was up there. All I know is JSU had never played, and he took him down. That's all I know.
All right. Well, speaking of taking him down, Joe Burrow took it down for us last week. It's the Falcons at the Bengals, 47.5-point total. Cincinnati, 6.5-point favorites. Tony, I'm going to start it with you and your Bengals because we got Joe Mixon as a big home favorite here. He's going to get some ownership. Jamar Chase always in play. T. Higgins, he's going to get a little bit of ownership. Joe Burrow, though, not getting ownership. Tony, what are you doing with this Bengals side?
Yeah, I like Burrow, and something in me just says they need to get things because they still haven't totally clicked. They got it going a little bit last week. I feel like this is a matchup that maybe they just try to get this offense going. I've heard other people say they just get Mixon and pound him and win the game. I just don't see it. Like in my head, I feel like they want to open it up. And what's better than a week where we can get Burrow at 10% owned against Atlanta? And you can play lots of options. I mean, you can go Jamar, you can go T, you can even play Hurst in there with them. The only thing I wouldn't do is don't play Jamar and T together. I just don't think they get there all that often together. And it lets you fade Mixon, who Mixon just looks like Zeke to me. I keep saying this example, but he's got no burst. So if people are going to play him, I don't think he's a terrible play. I think he could get you like 15, but he just doesn't look explosive to me. And I know they want to get this passing game going. Maybe Burrow doesn't have like a 40-point ceiling or something this week unless it really goes right for him. But I do think he gets you like mid-20s a lot of the time here. And I think that's good this week. We don't have a lot of those. We're almost back to the old days 3 years ago where we were doing this show. And we're like, you never win it at quarterback. That's changed these days, by the way. Some of these quarterbacks nuke. But this week, there's not a lot of those guys on the slate. So I think we kind of go back a little bit in time this week. Take your 25 from quarterback, enjoy it. And I don't know, like T. Higgins is definitely where I usually play Chase. But T. Higgins at 6,400, I mean, come on with that price. He looked a little bit healthier last week, another week off. Now he gets Atlanta. Freaking love T this week. And he's going to get owned. But he's not, I mean, like you can get Burrow 10%, T 20%. That's fine with me. I think those spots are good. The interesting part's the run back because Atlanta does need to score just a little to keep this game interesting. I don't know. I mean, they share time at running back. Pitts has been just horrendous. I guess it's Drake London because he's at least talented. Maybe he can make some plays, but
I think Drake's too cheap, but he's not like a must in my line.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're playing like I wouldn't play him as a one-off outside of like Cincy. Like if I'm playing Burrow T, it's got to be okay to run Drake in a team like that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Like if he's your last guy into, I think it's fine there. But like I'm not going
definitely crush though. Like he definitely could against Cincy.
Hoop, what are you doing with this game?
100% in lockstep. I mean, I think it's a good spot for the passing attack here. Kind of have a little bit of a lean, Higgins over Chase. I mean, that's, you're talking 2,000 DraftKings dollars between the two. I mean, 8,200, 6,400. So, I mean, technically 1,800, but, just going to round up on that one. I think it's a really good spot. What I'm seeing with Mixon is, there's just inefficiencies and they're finally, I think, willing to move on. Like if he's not effective, giving him the ball, like on the handoffs, they're just going to go passing attack because they have these weapons and Burrows has been good. I will have some Mixon though. I mean, if he does somehow get this going here, he's massive upside because they are willing to give him that massive workload and he is active in the passing game. The price tag on FanDuel really stands out. I mean, FanDuel did a really good job pricing guys up this week. Joe Mixon, 7.4K. That's a cheap price tag for a guy like Mixon over there on FanDuel, but I do like him as well on DraftKings. I just think this could just be a spot where, the Bengals offense kind of goes off, like Tony said. I'm going to have Chase. I'm going to have Higgins, even some Hurst, Mixon, Burrow. And then I agree with the run back situation. I mean, okay, maybe some Pitts, maybe some London, but really the only teams I want to play those guys on are teams where I'm stacking the Bengals. So really, in lockstep there.
All right, guys, if you're watching, we appreciate it. Show us some love. Click the like button. We're trying to get to 1,300 likes to get our plays of the day today. We're at 868 right now, so we got a little bit of ways to go. So click that like button. We really appreciate it. Helps us out. We got 1,700 of you watching, all right? We're not asking for a lot. Click the little thumbs up button. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. Help us out over at RunPureSports. All right. Moving on, team that the news I thought might help us out, but I think it's just confusing me even more. It's the Browns and the Ravens, 45.5-point total. Baltimore, 6.5-point favorites. The big news here, no J.K. Dobbins, which means we get a three-headed monster of Kenyon Drake, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. Tony, it feels like we want one of these guys. Can you choose?
In tournaments, you can. It's not as easy in like a main team type build because you don't know, but in like a Millie format, I lean Gus Edwards just because he's stone min 4K, which gives you some ability in tournaments. That's all we want is upside, right? And if you play him at 4K and he somehow does get the work, which he could, we've seen it in the past, and he scores twice, gets 100 yards, and he's 4K and he's 1% owned, it gives you so much freaking upside in a Millie Maker 4-bet. So I'm definitely going to take a chance in tournament in like Millie in the huge field stuff, maybe even in like a Wildcat or something. But is it safe? Hell no. He could get 0 points, but great tournament play in my mind. And it gives you a little bit of just low owned cheap play to let you go up to the Devontae Adams and different guys, the running backs, if you want to go up at running back. A lot of directions you can go by playing a guy like Gus Edwards, and he definitely has upside. I don't care what anyone says. He wasn't active because they didn't really need him till right now. Now with Dobbins out again, they've trusted him in the past, so I don't see why he wouldn't have a role now that they activate him. They've never liked Drake, even though he looks good. Justice Hill's kind of always sucked. So I trust it's mainly price point, I guess, but it's also that we've seen it in the past with Gus Edwards. So I mean, if Justice Hill was, he's 42, so he's cheap, but 4K, or if Drake was 4K, maybe I take a chance there. But that stone min price point is just nice for me at running back. So that's where I'd go. And I mean, Lamar, the one guy on the slate that has upside, I just worry a little bit about the spot. I mean, he's 8K, Andrew's 74. I feel like this game plays pretty slow, but he is the one guy on the slate. I gave my whole speech last game about the going back 3 years. He is the one guy that could nuke you. If you don't play him, he's the one guy that could get 40 or 50. So you probably want to play a little bit, but I don't love it. I don't feel that great about this spot. I kind of feel like this game plays ugly. Division game. Both teams like to run the ball. Not sure you see a ceiling spot from Lamar here.
You know, you mentioned Gus Edwards, and he's actually the guy that's in my lineups right now, which it's a little terrifying that we all just agree on the 4K running back in a three-way.
It's going to be terrifying till he houses for us. Then we're going to feel very good.
I mean, like, I care about stuff like how much money they're paying the guy. I know the coaching staff doesn't care as much, but they gave this guy a 2-year, $9 million contract. They ain't giving out that kind of money to bench him. You know, now they need him. Now they're bringing in. I really think Gus Edwards is going to get the bulk of carries. Hoops just like shaking.
Hey, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like this, I'm like baffled. You guys are having a stroke fest on Gus Edwards. They got three running backs into running quarterback, and you guys are literally jerking yourselves to Gus Edwards.
40 yards
and running back is absolutely loaded with massive high upside guys. Running backs have been torching these slates. You guys are talking about Gus Edwards? Man, I'm definitely not playing Gus Edwards. All right. So I think we made that pretty. I think I made that pretty.
Hoop, you really had this look on your face. Like it was just like this look of disbelief shaking your head. No, I haven't seen that one before.
I was surprised. I mean, Tony's talking about it, and you say he's on your main squad. Like
he's about to be on my main squad too. Now I'm jamming about Poop's ass.
Yeah. He's gonna have like 3 touchdowns now today for sure.
I've got a victory lap so hard.
You have 3 running backs.
They don't have 3 running backs though.
They're gonna play all those guys.
Okay, they haven't played Justice Hill in 3 years. They've tried to make Justice Hill work. They don't even play him. They don't even play him in the preseason. Like
Tony's going to fade him. Tony's going to think about it after the show and fade his ass. That's my prediction. Tony's off.
Do you know
Go to Tony's player pool on RunPureSports.com. Gus Edwards
4th on the list in the running back pool. It's already
man. There's some good momentum last game talking about your Bengals, but no Gus for me. Obviously,
wait till all 4 of my spend up receivers go for 30 plus. You're going to see how good Gus looks then at 4K.
Yeah. Oh, good. We might be on the same page at wide receiver because I do like some of those guys.
Tony and I are going to have the same lineup if we both.
Yeah, we probably will because it's 4 good receivers in there with him. I'll take much.
Hold on, I'm trying to pull up Gus's touchdown prop so I know how much I'm going to make
God, I can't wait till he scores. I might buy a Gus jersey.
They're cheap, buddy.
Big T's player.
It's not good,
pool.
but I have to go to this. I have to go to the second page to find the touchdown prop. 290. That's not 290. That's not terrible.
There you go.
It's not great. But it's not terrible. It's worse than Demarcus Robinson, which is troubling. But
I think on the slate,
Marcus Robinson.
Yeah, Demarcus Robinson has a better chance of scoring than your Gus Edwards.
If you want action, I'll give you big Demarcus versus Gus. Anyone out there that wants that, I'll give you Demarcus if they got a similar odd.
I think you do have to play a little bit of Lamar just because the nature of the slate, especially if you're doing 150. I think you got it. I mean, he's just has the ability to just absolutely torch these slates. And there's just not a ton of guys
Let's
at
go,
quarterback.
Locks. Locks is with us, Crain. Locks knows winners.
Boy.
Let's go, Locks.
Now I'm scared. Now that Locks is on, now I might have to reconsider. Locks is the man, and he's on a heater, and he's in on.
And first
Gus.
of all, the chat's saying they don't have Gus jerseys. What happened when they didn't have Kittle jerseys back in the day? I said you just type it like it's your own name. You got to pay $25 extra.
And what about when they told you they don't have this jersey?
He's back today.
Yeah, he's back today, boys. I got him ready to roll. He's back today. Wait till we get to that game. But I think you got to have some Lamar just because he can absolutely nuke this slate, and the ownership's not looking all that crazy. Mark Edwards. Yeah, you guys got me on the.
Yeah, you were just on Gus Edwards tilt over there.
Mark Andrews could torch the tight end position too. So. Seen it a lot this season. Those two, they've been on the winner at least twice so far. So I'll have some Lamar, I'll have some Andrews, and that's it for me in this one.
Okay, here I got to clear something up in the chat. Am I crazy for playing Justice Hill and Gus? Yes. Yes, you don't play.
That's taking it even a step further. Getting two of them.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not condoning that. We can condone Gus. We cannot condone both of those guys. All right. Let's move on to the Lions at the Cowboys, 48.5 point total. Dallas, 6.5 point favorites. And I told you guys I had a quarterback, and it ain't Jared Goff. Dak Prescott is going to absolutely smash in this spot at like 5 or 6% ownership. They're like, everybody goes off against the Lions, as Hoop well knows, Mr. Geno Smith over there. Dak's like, people are going to play Lamb. And I don't understand why, if Lamb's a bad play, that Dak isn't a good play. Like, but nobody's playing Dak. Meanwhile, he gets an elite matchup at home. Like, Tony, am I crazy here for loving Dak?
I mean, I think you're crazy for thinking no one's going to play Dak. I think tons of people are going to play Dak.
I kind of don't think he's going to be all that highly.
We're back to the same thing we always are, though. Every quarterback's going to be 10%.
For sure.
Or like they're not. None of them are going to be in the 20s. None of them are going like Dak's not going to be 4% owned. Like, he's going to be 10% owned. Like, you can just set it in there right now, which I don't think it's high or low. It's just but. None of that matters. And I catch myself doing this. We shouldn't even worry about quarterback ownership. But literally, I think he's a good play, though, what you're saying. I love Dak. If CD is a great play, you have to love Dak. Every time Detroit's on a slate, you want to play guys against Detroit. So all the points you made are perfect points. And you can double it up, too, I think, which I like teams you can double it up. You got Gallup. Dalton Schultz, I think, is a great second wheel or whatever you want to call it. I don't know the proper lingo. What do you call the double stacks? What do you call
a secondary?
Yeah, like a secondary. I think Dalton Schultz is perfect for that. I even think Pollard is a little bit. I don't think I've played him in a long time. Detroit just gives up big plays. Like, couldn't you see him just housing one like 70 yards or something?
Yes.
I love this game. And the best part is Detroit, they just go back and forth too. And we got our boy Amon-Ra back. And man, when he's on a slate, I'm going to be on him. So really, really good texture of a game. And the bad part is I think everyone that kind of stacks this game ends up similarly. But we can get different in other spots. We can play Gus the Bus, Crain. We can get the Gus the Bus in there with us.
There we go.
But I love this game. I know Hoop will love it because it's impossible for Hoop not to love this game. So we'll be back together here for this game, I think, as we go to Hoop.
All right, let's hear it, Hoop. By the way, we mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. No DeAndre Swift for the Lions today. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that for those of you living under a rock.
Come on, before we get to Hoop, I got to own the chat like always. Cody H, has the pay up for wide receiver strategy worked this year? I've shipped 2 of the 6 slates. What do you mean? Yeah, it's worked fine. It doesn't matter if you get 10 points from your running backs when you get 4 receivers that go for 30. Like, come on. What's his name? Cody H, I'm coming for you today.
This is just poor Cody in there. He gives one comment and he got big T.
He's making fun of my strategy. I don't like it when people
He's angry today, man. Like, people come after Gus the Bus and Tony does not like it.
I mean, I was like super excited to, jump back into the good graces of Big T with this Dallas game, and he has to.
If you don't like this game, it's going to be real hard.
Oh, I was ready to do it, and then you had to go back to talking about Gus Edwards in this game. Like, come on, we're moving on past that, and I love the spot. I'm with you here. The Cowboys, I think it's just a phenomenal spot. People are just kind of overlooking it, to be honest with you. Lions, what were they on a bye last week? So I think maybe people kind of forgot how bad this defense is. Cowboys projected to score 4 touchdowns here today. And like, Big T said, the Lions will give up chunks of plays. They'll come back when they get the ball, and they're aggressive on offense. It's like the perfect team to stack against. And you have pieces with Detroit that you can kind of play. I mean, St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Hawkinson, Jamal Williams. I don't mind either. So it's a really good spot here for the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb probably going to be pretty highly owned. It's just a bad price tag for him on DK at 6.8K. I mean, should definitely be closer to probably like 8K. But like Gallup, Schultz, I'm definitely in on. And I'm going to play, I mean, this is super painful for sure, but I'm going to play a little bit of Zeke this week. Maybe you guys can
make fun of us for playing Gus the Plus and then come back with Zeke.
Bring it. I know.
They're the same player. Zeke is the same player as Gus Edwards.
Bring it. Come on.
I know shit he gave us. He comes back with Zeke.
They have the same freaking team total. They both run like they're in quicksand. Only Zeke has got a guy in Tony.
He's playing Zeke and Mixon as chalk, and he's freaking making fun of us.
Zeke's not chalk. Zeke's not chalk. No way he's chalk.
Get ownership. He always does.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be popular.
They're both slower than Gus. I mean, get out of here. You can't make fun of us and then play Zeke.
Did you not just say Detroit just gives up massive plays?
Not the dudes that are slower than you.
They've given up massive plays to shitty dudes all season. It's been shitty guys crushing the Lions every week.
Not dudes that are slower than
Zeke
you.
Had his game, man. Like Zeke got up for that Philly game. He said, "This is my Super Bowl." He is not getting up for the freaking Detroit Lions.
If they fall inside the 5 twice, okay, what do you think? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to pound it with Zeke. I mean, he's got 3 touchdown upside today, boys. Like how tilting are going to be all your Dallas stacks when Dak hits CD to the 5-yard line and Zeke comes in there and just pounds it in. Like that can definitely happen multiple times. Pass interference in the end zone.
I don't understand.
I mean, the dude has not cracked 15 points all year.
Today's the day. Today is the day.
He could score twice and not get 15. That's the best part.
You guys, man.
Oh, God.
You guys are going to regret sitting there with Gus
points this year 5, 14, 10, 7, and 15.
You guys are going to be looking at that Gus Edwards goose egg.
Weren't you just sitting here? We got so many great plays at running back. Got great value.
I said, bring it. Listen, I said I deserve it. I said I deserve it. I said hit me with it. As soon as I said it, I said, all right, I deserve everything coming my way. I accept
so many good plays at running back. I love Zeke today.
Yeah. Guys, if you think
I didn't use the word love, I didn't use the word love. Perfect. I said I'm playing some Zeke.
If he's, that means
if there's a spot, what does Dallas want to do? They want to fucking pound it with this piece of shit that sucks at running back. They want to do it. There's no better spot than against the Lions to get something done fantasy wise.
Oh my God! Even the chat is making fun of
me. All right, here's the deal. If I play a little Gus, will you guys play a little bit of Zeke for me, or is that just no? No. Okay. All right. Hey, just trying to just seeing if we can work something out. We're
out on that
deal. Although Tony, to be fair, usually in this argument, you don't want to be on my side with the running backs.
Oh, that's a good point. It's a good counterpoint. If it was a receiver, I don't know though. Zeke might overweight it all.
Our guy Tambo has all these just like off the top jokes here. Goose Edwards.
Tambo, come on.
DC in the chat, he says Zeke and Gus just need a few more plays. Don't worry, we're coming from you. We're coming for you. Unbelievable. Guys, if you want to make fun of Hoop a little bit more for playing Ezekiel Elliott, click that like button.
This reminds me of the Hunter Renfrow conversation last year, by the way, when Tony made fun of me for my boy Hunter and he just nuked the entire slate.
Did you just like victory lap for no reason?
Well, it happened last year. I got assaulted. I got assaulted on the show, and my guy just came out and owned his ass. It's happening with Zeke. I got to up my.
Is it going on? Get that jersey on.
It will.
Woo!
I'm just kind of sweating. You guys
I
got
thought you were going to the
the
jersey. I was getting excited.
The
I
Zeke
thought
talk,
you got stuck. I thought you were trying to get out. You got stuck.
The Zeke talk got me heated. I'm starting to sweat in the office
man.
here.
Oh, that Gus Edwards jersey is going to fit so nice. Oh man, just ship that double XL over, Tony. The wife's got the address, so just send it on over. All right,
On the way.
You hit those DMs.
I slid into those DMs. That's right.
I forgot about that last week.
Oh man. Okay. Tampa at Carolina, 38.5 point total. Tampa, 13.5 point favorite share. I'm going to make this really quick on Carolina. Just don't do it. Wait, neither of you are going to make the case for DJ Moore, right?
No. I mean, what is he? 4.9K. I'm not like Xing, I'm not Xing him out. Like I'll put something if he hits some teams, maybe. I mean, what's the argument for playing him? That they really want to trade him and they just like
no. The argument for playing is that he's talented.
Yeah, and they might chuck him the ball. I mean, they have no one else on the roster. I don't know.
I'm not doing it. I like DJ Moore. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Tony,
I might play a little bit.
You're not playing any DJ Moore, right, Tony?
Oh, I mean, E-Rack's making fun of my hat, my clothes. Like, stuff like that doesn't bother me, E-Rack. I got a freaking wife. I use the workbench. I got kids. Like, you think I give a shit? You're sitting at a computer chirping me, watching my show. Believe me, I get plenty of workbench time. Don't worry about this hat. I like this hat, buddy. But hell no on DJ Moore. I can't play him, but I'm going to get Hoop even more, man. Another 4K running back. Deontay Foreman, baby.
No. Woo! Oh, no.
What team is he on?
We were doing
He's on the
so
team
good.
that just traded Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And he's 4K.
There you go. Another guy that's competing with 4 running backs for carries.
Well, they got 4 running backs too.
Okay, I would rather play Zeke than Deontay Foreman.
There we go. Let's go, baby.
You're paying 6K instead of 4K, so you guys can have fun paying 6K.
I mean, 4K. Like it's like they have and this is something Tony would say. They have a freaking 12-team total.
I only need one touchdown when they're 4K.
You're not playing freaking.
So you think getting 10 points from running backs winning the slate?
Yeah, when my receivers get 30, I do.
You can play the normal running backs and get those receivers.
Well, you're playing Zeke, and he's going to get you 12 at 6K, so I can get 10 from 4K.
Well, 12's the number. All right, I like that because when he gets 22, I like adding a 10 onto that. He's going to get over 20 today.
Oh, God.
He's getting over 20.
He better score 3 times.
I know. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
It's going to be a lot of carries for 12 yards. But
those touchdowns get you 6 points.
These are my favorite weeks, just for the record. I love when you guys talk shit on my plays, and it makes me feel good. It warms my heart. I can't wait. We just start the games right now.
DC says he wants to hop on to talk some good running backs, as if he's not going to talk about Gus the Bus too. Let's move on to the Tampa.
Maybe he wants to triple down with us, Crain.
He might want to hop
on and be like, "Give me some Gus the Bus, boys."
I love that Tambo's just in there, just annihilating all Big T's shitty running backs with his little gimmicky names. It's so good.
Love it too. What did he call Foreman? Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman with the zeros instead of the O's.
Zeros instead of the O's.
Very creative, Tambo. Good stuff.
He may have made fun of Zeke too. I haven't seen that one. And maybe I'm just
I can't see it because the one dude spams like 19 straight messages.
Out of here with that shit. No one wants whatever that crap is.
That's too good, guys. If you're watching, we got 2,000 watching. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button.
If you're gonna spam
us out over at RunPureSports.
If you're gonna
it's all right, man. I have one job just to try and get the damn likes, and you're just
hit the like. Sorry, Simon. I'm very sorry, but hit the like. But also, if you're gonna come into a chat with 99.5% dudes, and you're pumping a link to NFL, we're already watching NFL. Bring at least come with porn or something. Not NFL links. No one wants that shit. Bring back the porn bots instead of the NFL links.
I agree.
Yeah, Holden. Bring back the porn
Holden.
bots.
Yeah, get your algorithm straightened out, Holden. No one wants the NFL links.
All right,
What's
let's
the
talk
plan?
the Tampa Bay side because we got a million good plays over here. Uncle Lenny has been getting it done for us. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're both fine. Kate Otten, he's going to be starting at tight end. Saw a lot of usage when he was in there last time. He's near minimum price. Hoop, I'm going to start with you. This Tampa Bay side, is there anything not to like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're now playing the worst team in football, Carolina, trying to lose games. So I mean, the Bucs are going to be able to get it done however they want. 14-point favorites here. You have to like Uncle Lenny a little bit. Leonard Fournette, fair price tag, 7.7K.
There's no Zeke.
He is no Zeke. That is true. But if you can pay up a little bit from Zeke to Lenny, I don't hate that. So Leonard Fournette, I think a strong option. Kate Otten, you can just add to the list of cheap tight ends. There's like 4 of them this week. I think he's very viable. And then Mike Evans, Godwin. I'm going to keep playing Godwin. I don't care. Like he's 6.3K. He's been close. He's had some decent games. Hasn't found the end zone. When he does, he's going to have a massive game. So in on him. Evans, I think, goes pretty low on today, and I'm going to be in on a little bit of Tom Brady, which I know Big T will not like. So in on this whole offense. I mean, they will.
Do you have like a requirement that you have to be over 35 to be on your fantasy team today?
Yeah, I'm going for the old timers today.
Yeah.
No young bucks. No.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want pieces of this entire offense. In my 150.
They brought back the porn bot.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have said that. They really did. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, that's impressive. Wow,
You can't tell me they're not listening.
that proves it. We got to the bottom. They are listening, so that's how it works. I didn't know if they were.
As Chris Myers says, the spammers are even trolling.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is good.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Tony, what are you doing with this Tampa side?
Yeah, I mean, you can play any of these guys. Tampa just looks terrible. They freaking lose again last week to Pittsburgh. I know Carolina sucks, but I think they just want to get a victory and get out of there. I don't know. I like Godwin the best for sure. 6,300 is too cheap. I still just don't know if you have a ceiling from these guys, though, unless Carolina can score at least a little. Like, can they score at all, though, with this offense?
Nope.
I don't think they can either, really. I mean, maybe they get to like 10 or something, but I mean, what's the total? 38 in this game?
It's 38. The Carolina team total's 12.
Yeah, like I don't think they probably get to 12, although Tampa has struggled. I mean, they struggled bad with Pittsburgh.
So you don't think Carolina gets to 12 and you're playing their running back that's 104.
That's splitting
104.
carries.
Who's their 4 running backs? Like, well, do you want to bet on the other 3? Since there's 4, I'll take Foreman. You can have the other 3.
I don't want any of them. I want 0 of them.
Since there's 4, though, you get 3 on 1.
I don't want any of them.
I mean, who's the 4? Like, who are these 4?
I just threw out 4. All right. I mean, fuck, you know what I mean. 3.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I like my 2 4K running backs.
Oh man. Okay. That was a lot of time to spend on Carolina. Let's move on to the Colts and the Titans. 41.5 point total. Tennessee, 2.5 point favorites at home. And Tony, I'm going to start with you this time.
C-Dome's, you're on Tyler Boyd. You can't play Tyler freaking Boyd. Come on, C-Dome.
I actually don't hate Boyd, and we didn't talk about him, but I do have a little Boyd.
Like,
how many dudes do you have in your? How many dudes do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
And what position? Wide receiver or just in general? I don't know.
How many do you do when you run it? Like how many quarterbacks?
However many I like. I don't really pay attention. I don't know. I'm going to play I think 5 quarterbacks this week.
Hoop just plays everybody. That's why he can win. That's how it works.
No, I definitely don't.
Do 150 lineups. You play everybody. Boom, win the Millie Maker. That's how it works.
Boyd is.
I mean, if I'm playing Burrow, I don't want to exclude like
the guy pass catch unless I have to. The guy who doesn't catch any touchdowns. Yeah, definitely don't want to exclude him.
I don't think Boyd's like
that's a good point. Iraq, I like Iraq now. Iraq's my boy. Nice comment from Iraq. Who's the only one who should be talking on this show? Yeah, thank you, Iraq. We're boys. And you make fun of Big T's clothing. Yeah, that's like a special spot right in my heart.
Hey, he called me fat too.
Yeah, he said Crain was 100 pounds something or
Well, that's not nice because Crane's losing weight. Crane's on the way down.
What am I? I'm down about 50, baby. We're doing good here.
Yeah, Crane's on the way down. So that's good.
We're putting.
Who makes fun of someone's weight, anyways? Like, who goes in a YouTube chat and makes fun of someone's weight?
The happiest people on the planet do that.
I always wonder who these people are, though. Like, it's more than likely it's probably someone we know that like just is angry at us.
Oh yeah.
Like, who are you, Iraq?
We know who it is. We know
he likes hoop though, so that's good to know.
Oh, never mind.
That's just to like throw us off his trail, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's great. Yep. Oh man, DC says I've got my core: Gus, Zeke, and Foreman.
Let's
go.
When
you say it like that,
you better have some good players in some other spots.
Can you imagine?
You can spin up for all those wide receivers.
Yeah, you got Lamar. What is the team? Lamar and Andrews and whatever receivers. Yeah, roll that out, somebody in the Millie.
RunPure might break the internet if that did happen. If someone wins the
Millie,
Millie,
in one team in the Millie right now.
The victory lap I'm going to give when Gus scores. It's just going to be beautiful.
What is it? Seriously though, I'm going to put one in the million while we're doing this show right now. So Lamar, Andrews, who's our running back? Zeke.
Well, yeah, you said
Foreman.
Zeke, like Deontay Foreman and
Foreman, Gus. How much?
It's tough if you spend up at tight end, man. It's tough to find that salary.
Damn, we still, with all the three of those dust bucket running backs, we still only got $5K per receiver.
Dude, it's really if you're not saving.
You put in the cheap defense. We're up to 6. If you put
who's our defense? I'm putting this team in. Who's our cheap?
Yeah, the Jets are going to be obviously popular.
Yeah,
I don't think we
already got 3 dust buckets in.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine eating the chalk the rest of the way.
Yeah, then we can play T Higgins. We can play CD.
Yeah, now we're back on board,
guys, and we're down. We got 4,800 for our last spot.
Oh, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Let's just really torch it.
Yeah, I won't even say the last spot. I'm going to put that in the millie, and when it ships, we can talk about it next week and laugh.
Imagine the victory lap.
I'm not going to say who I'm putting my last spot in, but
I'm 100% taking a piece of that. My care package better come with some bricks if that happens.
Yeah, if that team ships, we're splitting it 3 ways.
All right, done.
Let's go.
It'd be the best thing ever, too. Can you imagine if we came on with that team?
Oh man. All right, Colts and the Titans, 41.5 point total. Tennessee, 2.5 point favorites here, and Derrick Henry, big price tag, good matchup, no ownership. Hoop, I know you like big, slow running backs. So what do you think about Derrick Henry?
Probably the only play for me in this game, him and maybe Alec Pierce. The thing that you like about Henry is the fact that they're now using him in the passing game too. He's been very active in the passing game. So at home as a favorite, we're starting to turn the corner on the season. I know we always talk about we like playing him at the end of the season. Well, we're at the halfway point, so maybe we start considering him a little bit. He could definitely absolutely torch this slate. But yeah, for me in this game, it's just him. I don't think he's going to be highly owned. I don't think he'll have much ownership actually at all. So in on Henry and then just Alec Pierce on the other side. And that is it.
Yeah, Pierce is one of those guys that is very clearly earned the trust of Matt Ryan. He got the late touchdown last game. He's getting targets. Like, I like Pierce plenty. Tony, what are you doing with King Henry? I know we're saving money at running back this week, but are you spinning up for Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I can't play Derrick Henry when I'm playing Gus the Bus. That's that's tough.
How does every game finds its way back to Gus?
But in all seriousness, I'm not going to play Henry. The Colts defense has been pretty good, and I don't know. I'm not doing it this year. I don't want to spend up at running back. I'm playing cheap running backs. I'm playing good receivers, and I'm taking my chances. It's just what I'm doing. It's worked out good so far. I'm not switching it. So I'm not going to play Henry. Woods pissed me off a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to play him. I am going to play our boy Pittman, though. He finally nuked last week. I keep trying to pick on this Tennessee defense.
Yeah.
They keep beating me, but I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep trying Pittman just because they don't have anyone. I mean, Pierce has been good. JT back helps these receivers, I think, because they have to focus on JT. Pittman's just going to be very low owned for how much usage I think he can get. So I'm definitely going to have some Pittman.
Yeah, I like Pittman. I like any wide receiver against this Tennessee secondary. It's just in that price range, there are other guys that I like more. So I'm struggling to get to Pittman on any of my teams. All right.
I think
Giants
that's how everyone is, though. I think that's
I get it.
Yeah. I just put this team in, by the way, and I actually really like the team I put in. We might be chopping a Billy next week. It looks good. I made one other change. I'm not going to say what it is, but
he took out Zeke.
Yeah, our 3 running backs are in there. That's the core of the team.
Oh man. Guys, click that like button, click that subscribe button. We're at somewhere in the 1,000 range. So we're trying to get to 1,300. If you want our plays of the day, go ahead and click that like button. It helps us out. We got 2,100 people watching right now. So we only need like 60% of you. So click that like button. It helps us out quite a bit. We appreciate it. I also appreciate this next game because nobody's going to be on my boy again. It's the Giants at the Jaguars, 43.5 point total. The Jaguars 3-point favorites at home. I'm going right back to the well here with the guy who's seeing the rock, who's crushing it every time he sees the rock, who was down at the 1-yard line twice last week, who had another carry inside the 5. And had he gotten in the box any of those times, he would be giant chalk in a great matchup. Travis Etienne, once again, is in a phenomenal spot and going to be unowned. Hoop's not shaking his head. No, Tony's smirking a little bit. I feel like I'm not going to get crapped on for this play, so that feels good. Hoop, I'll throw it to you, man.
Not shaking my head, no, but I'm also not shaking my head, yes. No interest for me. I'm sorry, but I'm on guys that are actually going to get in the box like Zeke this week at the running back position. I don't want the guys that go down at the 1. I mean, you're touting your play as the guy that can't get into the box, the guy that keeps getting tackled before he scores. I'll pass on that. I'm passing on most of this game. Maybe Christian Kirk. That's about it. I hate this game and not playing your guy that falls short of the goal line.
He ain't falling short today. You don't got to worry about it.
This is like a vintage Wood show. I'm happy today. I like when we make fun of each other. It's way better that way.
Yeah, it is. It's a great show today so far. I got my boy Evrak just continuing to.
I mean, that's
support behind Hoopster.
I like
just
the
made
idea
fun
that
of your
it's actually...
sideburns. What do you mean? He made fun of your damn sideburns.
Whoa, hang on. What? Time out.
Who's sitting here? Hold on. How was my burner account making fun of my sideburns?
Yeah, wait.
Yeah,
sideburns. I don't even have sideburns.
He was making. He said they're bushy. He said they're bushy AF. You got to get it taken care of. He said.
I don't know. This is like my natural hairline. I don't have sideburns. Fuck out of here, E-Rat.
That's how quick he can turn.
Get out of here. Yeah, Big T's wardrobe is. I like the way Big T dresses. So fuck you. We're done. We're done.
Oh,
we got each other's back when we need it.
We're back together, baby.
Yeah.
Screw you, Iraq.
Yeah, Iraq, you're done. Bushy sideburns. I don't even have sideburns. That's the best part about it.
Oh, you got me dying.
Oh man. All right. Who has no interest in this game? Tony, what about you?
Man, so Christian Kirk, I keep putting him in my player pool every week, and he just keeps sucking. I pulled up his box score even. Dude hasn't even been in double digits in a week. I got to finally take you out, Kirk. I played you every week. I finally got to remove you from the player pool. You just haven't got it done. So anyone that wants to troll me, play Kirk today and watch him do something because I've played him every damn week, and he has not come through for me. So he's gone. I'm going to let Crain play ETN by himself.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I don't like Saquon. I could play some Saquon. He'd be the one. Let me look at my player pool real quick. I think he's the only spend. No, I have a little bit of one other guy, but I do like Saquon just a little bit.
Oh God!
Speaking of a guy that fell on the 1, he would have nuked last week if he didn't fall on the 1.
I think Saquon's fine. Like I'm done worrying about low team totals with these running backs that just get all the work. Saquon's perfectly fine. All right, let's move on to Houston. At
Big
the Raiders.
T dresses like Adam Sandler.
That's true.
Adam Sandler does dress terrible. But I respect it. I will say, and Tim Duncan used to do this too. I respect it when they just don't give a shit. Like Adam Sandler has more money than friggin' almost anybody in the world. The dude is so rich and he just doesn't give a shit. And I love that.
Yeah.
Guys, if you also don't give a shit, click that like button, click that subscribe button. We got 1,100 likes. We're trying to get to 1,300. If you want our plays of the day, we got 2,100 of you watching. So I know some of you ain't doing your job. Only half of you need to click that like button. So help us out here over at Run Pure Sports. If you're enjoying this content and you want more content like Gus the Bus, Houston at the Raiders, 45.5 point total. The Raiders 7-point favorite. Tony, I'm going to start with you because if you want to save a little bit of money, this is a spot you can go to. Derek Carr, quarterback for a team with a big total, 5,900. Josh Jacobs going to be incredibly popular this week at 6,500. I know it's a little out of your price range, but he's still going to get a lot of ownership. Devontae Adams, best wide receiver on the slate, unowned. Does that interest you at all? And Foster Moreau starting at tight end. He's $2,800. Tony, what do you think about this Raiders team? Because I think there's a lot to like.
So I think the industry's gotten a little sharper with stuff. And I started the week, even on the Print Factory, saying the best pivot is Devontae Adams and Carr. And the more I think about it, the more I think everyone pretty much watches some form of show, and every show just says the same shit. Like Jacobs is going to be so high owned, and the pivot is Devontae and Carr. And what happens is Jacobs will end up being lower owned than we think. He's still going to be massive chalk, so understand what I'm saying. But I think he's going to be lower than people. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in 25%, which I think is too low for his price point. Another thing people do, they get to the afternoon, I'll call it the Mangone move, but everyone just starts pivoting everything. If their team's looking good, then they pivot this way. If their team's not looking good, then they pivot this way. And everyone's pivoting. And if your team sucks, all the ownership comes off of Jacobs. And what happens is I just think Jacobs has looked incredible. And I'm not a Jacobs fan at all, like at all. I haven't played him basically ever. If you watch my shows, I make fun of him. But you have to take notice. And I have tried to get better at this where I'm not just stubborn on takes. And he's looked really damn good versus good defenses too. He's beat up a few decent defenses. I just think he's a really good play. So I'm just going to go above and jam him in there. And I started the week wanting more Carr and Adams. Carr never really hits a ceiling, like ever. Every time in these spots, he doesn't show a ceiling. I'm just not going to play him. So
I just love it. I want a milli maker with Derek Carr. Hoop won a milli maker with Josh Jacobs, and Big T Poop went on both of them.
I told you to play Derek Carr that week for the record. When we
you did. No, I know.
I can still remember that show. I still remember that show.
Yeah, that was back in the glory. Maybe I'll play him out of respect. We'll have our team that we built where we'll win. Maybe I'll put a Derek Carr in there out of respect and Jacobs, because they both came through for you guys. But this game is good. And another guy. So you got both running backs in this game, and sometimes we talk about it's just a weird correlation. But man, maybe the two best running backs in football, and people might laugh at this, but just this year alone, how they've looked. I really don't know if anyone's looked better than Pierce and Jacobs. Like, I don't think it's that crazy of a take. People might make fun of just how they've looked. I'm not saying stats. I'm not nothing. Just how they've looked running the football. They have looked incredible. Pierce has looked so good, and they're both priced very, very affordable. And what, 6,400, and what'd you say Jacobs was? 65?
65.
Yeah, same price range. I freaking love both of these guys. Another guy I'm never playing again is Cooks. He just very, very rarely ever comes through. So for me, it's just Pierce and Jacobs are my favorites. And then obviously the tight end, Foster Moreau is a great play in the cheap range. Devontae Adams is always a good play. Hoop, I'm sure we'll like Hunter Renfrow pull the jersey out at 4,900.
Oh man, you stole my move. Fuck.
Yeah, I like the running backs for me.
I'm gonna have to put it on in shame now because you stole.
Oh, you were gonna actually put it on?
Yeah, I got it ready to roll. I'll just put it on now. I mean, I was gonna. I mean, Crain serves up the game and does.
Put it over those sideburns, baby.
Yeah, I'll put it over the sideburns. See if he'll make it over the sideburns. Maybe I'll lose a few sideburn hairs along the way. Yeah,
that's impressive. Getting the jersey on that smoothly with the hat on. That's
impressive. He left the hat on when he put the jersey on.
It was. I thought I was going to lose an AirPod or the hat. And,
that's what I mean. Like that was
both stayed on board along the way. Both made it through.
Oh man, you did mention Dameon Pierce, and like, there's part of me that says, "Oh, it's a bad line. It's a bad team." Yada yada yada. They're giving the dude 20 carries a game. Like, it's really tough to fade that kind of volume. What are you doing with Dameon Pierce? I'm assuming you're playing Hunter Renfrow. If you put the jersey on and don't play Hunter Renfrow, I'm sorry, that's worse than Zeke. But what are you doing here?
Yeah, I agree mostly with what Big T had to say. I mean, I think Pierce is a really good play at the running back position. The problem with the run backs is I do kind of agree. It's like, man, after Pierce, who do I want to play? Like Cooks just seems to never get there. Nico Collins, I know AP really likes Nico Collins. He's a cheap wide receiver, so I'm going to keep him in there just because of how much I like the Raiders today. I think the Raiders just absolutely smashed. They need a win at home, favored by 7. It's one of those spots where I think I'm even willing to like overstack the Raiders side because I think they have a chance to just put up a huge score today. Derek Carr, I do like just because of the quarterback position. There's just not many guys I think that have the massive upside. So, we talked about it earlier where getting 25-ish at quarterback could be good. We talked about it with Burrow. I think Carr can get there. I mean, his ceiling games are few and far between. That's the one concern. But I really like the spot. Devontae Adams, like I just thought coming into the week that he would be very popular, like that he would be, in the 20s, potentially like 30% owned because we just don't have the other top end wide receivers. And the fact that his ownership has remained in check, really like him. I think he's just a phenomenal play. Jacobs just way too cheap. I will have some of my boy Hunter Renfrow, not like a core play, but Hunter Renfrow ownership should be low. No Waller. I think that works to his advantage as well. And then Foster Moreau at the tight end position. I just think this is a spot where the Raiders could score like 40 points. So I want to be heavily exposed to every Raiders piece here today. Run backs, like I said, it does get a little bit tough. Pierce, I like quite a bit. And then I will have some of Cooks and Collins just because of how much I like the Raiders side.
Hoop, are you willing to play Pierce and Jacobs on the same team?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's why because that's like one of those things that when I always used to script, I was like, I never had running backs from the same team. And there are a few options or there are a few times where I say, okay, I think it's okay. And I kind of think this is one of those times when it's okay to do that. A couple things. First off, okay, Tony, I gotta read this chat to you. Somebody says Hoop is the guy in high school everybody wanted to hang out with, but the guy's screen name is Mike P2222.
I got my burners. I got the burners
Hoop,
rolling
that is the most
today.
pathetic burner I've ever seen in my life.
Hoop was so popular in high school. The next comment, all the ladies wanted to bang him. Keep it coming, Mike P.
And he said, "I'm glad Matt Golden takes are better than his golf game."
Oh my goodness! Like you're not even trying anymore.
Trump Hoop 2024.
We got them all rolling.
Oh man,
people have hoops back today. You love it. I mean, I gotta be careful with all these windows going though. All these burner accounts might get them mixed up here.
You're definitely gonna get it mixed up. I'll tell you what. When
Sideburns great again.
Oh, got me dying.
Guys, if you're enjoying this show, we're still waiting on about 200 likes. We're trying to get to 1,300. We're at 1,100 right now. Click the like button. You get our plays of the day at the end. We're having a lot of fun over here.
Dude in the Discord said he wants to give away 2 tickets too, it looks like. I just seen it.
Oh, nice.
All right. You
said,
keep that.
Where's it at? Let me see. 333 tickets. I met him at the DK final in Boston. Great dude. He's been absolutely crushing. He's the dude that had the split logo. I think he went to the single logo now for the Run Pure maybe, but he wants to give out 2 tickets. I kind of lost the message somewhere, but did you guys see how he wants to give them out?
I didn't see it. I've been following the YouTube chat because I enjoy pain.
I lost the message. Maybe Hoop sees it. I can't find
it. All right. I'll let you guys find it while I introduce this next game, and it should be a quick one. It's the Jets and the Broncos, 36.5 point total. The Jets 1.5 favored. Obviously, Russell Wilson out. So what happened? The line moved 0.5 point. Brett Rippon starting for the Broncos. And I actually kind of like one receiver in this game, which I know is going to sound a little bit weird, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Tony, are you doing anything in this game?
Defenses, obviously the Jets D is going to be the popular one just because the Broncos have been terrible. Now the backup's in there. Dulcich, you can go back to our boy. He looked great on when C-Dome gave him out on the Monday show, I believe, or whatever primetime show it was. 2,500. I think you have to consider him. He's got good pedigree as a tight end. everything we said on the Showdown show, but he looks good and he's 2,500. I don't know if there's that much of a ceiling just because the Broncos aren't going to score, but he's 2,500. So I've played definitely worse than him. And I don't know. There's not much else on the Broncos side. The Jets side, I think maybe the worst play of the slate is Breece Hall. I think he's really, really, really bad play today. And he's been good. Don't get me wrong. I've loved him every week, but this game is going to play insanely slow. The Broncos defense is good. I just don't see a world where he's a good play today. And he's going to be like 20% owned. And people are going to play him with the Jets D. I think he's the worst play of the slate. And I feel very good about that too. So I hate this game though, besides the defenses. One pivot to the Jets D could be the Broncos D, even though they're more expensive.
I love the Broncos D. I love the Broncos D.
Yeah.
Like I think they're an elite option because they're basically in the same spot. And I'd hate sacrificing the $800 you have to take or $700 you have to take to get there, but it's still just like if you can spend up from the Jets D. The Jets D might be one of the most popular defenses of the entire season. So if you can pivot off of the Jets defense in tournaments, I think that's a really good move. Hoop, what are you doing in this game? There's no way Hoop likes anybody in this game. What am I talking about? Hoop, you there?
He's on mute. Oh,
yeah, I was trying to get this tweet out. Try to see if I can get some. Yeah, I like the cheap tight end. I mean, why not? 2.5K looked good. The only concern, they just have so many tight ends. I do like Mangone's tweet during that game, like all the tight ends standing on the sideline together, like pick your horse or whatever. that was a good one. They do have a ton of guys at tight end that they just will bring in. I know Mangone said his friend texted him like, which guy is our guy? Well, it's the guy with like the long hair and the mustache. So I do like his get up, but they have a lot of tight ends, but I do like him. I mean, he's got to be the guy. He looks solid out there. Not a ton of interest in Breece Hall. I think he will get ownership. Jets defense will be popular, but going right to that Broncos defense at a much higher price tag, I think makes a lot of sense. Just seems like just a nasty, grinded out, gross type of game. So defenses, bullshit, and that's about it.
I like Jerry Jeudy today, and I'm going to be alone on him, but this is a spot against the Jets. I know. No, I think Sauce Gardner is really going to take out Cortland Sutton, which means that, look, this is good for Dulcich or however the hell you pronounce it too. But
that's perfect. DC's favorite running back after he shit on us was Breece Hall. That's the best part of the show. Oh, that's so perfect.
Now DC can just take Zeke out of our team and slide in a Breece Hall, and he's good to go.
You don't have to chop that way. You just take first off for yourself.
That's literally perfect after he shit on us. That's his favorite running back.
Here, Tony, I'll give you a chance. Raw points, Gus or Breece?
Oh, I mean, shit. I
want to see how far you go.
I want to see how far you take it.
I mean, I hate when you throw these guys out, though, that I don't want to play because your receivers have come through over the years. You throw Jerry Jeudy out, I have to add him to my player pool now because I never fade a Crain receiver take. I just don't do it. I play him.
I guess the one argument for him is like this backup quarterback has to be better than Russ, right? I mean, has to
can't be worse.
Yes.
I don't know. Does he throw it to the receivers?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, it's probably a good spot.
And the advantage is he's going to be literally 1% owned. So.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to play Jeudy and like. Just from a matchup standpoint, like the total sucks. It's not. I felt a lot stronger about guys throughout the years than I do about Jeudy today.
Don't be underselling it now. You already got me on board.
No, I'm just saying. Like I like Jeudy at 1%. You go 6 or 7%, you're going to be way over the field. And in tournaments, I think he's fine. Like I'm doing a few lineups today. He might be on 1 or 2, but I like him.
It's just this chat thing is starting to tilt me because these guys come in and stroke Hoop and then they turn on him like quickly. Now Mike P saying Mike P 2222 is saying Breece over Zeke.
Yeah,
like, come on.
We found out it's your burner. You're trying to cover your tracks.
You're right. I got called out. So
Oh man, guys, we got 2 games left. We're trying to get to 1,300 likes.
They're
We're
just
at 1,200.
killing your Jeudy play. It makes me want to play him even more.
Oh,
they're just murdering him.
That's okay. That's okay. I've played worse.
Even the dude just posting the link said that Judy sucks. What if it was just the troll account that did just say Judy sucks?
The bots come in
if the bot came, if Holden's bot came in and said Judy sucks, Judy sucks, Judy sucks, I don't know, I'd play him even more. But yeah, guys, we're trying to get to 1,300 likes throughout the plays of the day. We're at 1,200 right now. We got 2,300 of you watching. So go ahead and click that like button. Helps us out over at Run Pure Sports. We would really, really appreciate it. Let's go to, we got 2 games left. Chiefs and the 49ers, 48.5 point total. The Chiefs 1.5 favorites at home. And Tony, I'm going to start with you here because we've got a Chiefs side that all I've heard all week is, oh, wait, here, I buried the lead. Isaiah Pacheco expected to start in this game. We'll have to get your guys' takes on that as well. But everybody is saying Chiefs, oh, it's a tough matchup. Meanwhile, they still have a 3.5 touchdown total. I can't help but think that these guys are going to be, might be the lowest owned we ever see the Chiefs. And I think it's a phenomenal spot. Tony, what do you think about this Chiefs side?
Yeah, I think the 49ers are one of the better teams in the NFC still, especially now trading for McCaffrey. They just match up good with teams. Yeah, they've struggled a little bit, but I think they'll put it together. I just don't like the Chiefs. Juju, we say this every week, but their receivers, Juju, MVS, their starting running back today, Pacheco. I mean, I get that Mahomes is the man, Kelsey's good, but this is not the Chiefs team we've seen in the past. It's not. And people are going to realize it eventually. This team is not a Super Bowl contender, not even close. Sorry, AP, put the pants back on. But this team's ass cheeks. They're not any good. They are not a Super Bowl contender. San Fran's going to handle them today. National Tight End Day, though, they keep saying it. I keep hearing it. The 2 best tight ends, in the last 8 years, Kelsey and Kittle. I actually think if the Chiefs can get a lead, we always talk about it. No, not many are going to play Kittle. He'll be single-digit owned. He's looked better. 10 targets last week. I think 8 the week before. I think Kittle's a pretty good play. I usually have a good feel for my man Kittle too. He's treated me good over the years. I feel like today might be a sneaky little George Kittle spot. Everybody playing those cheap tight ends or going up. I think Kittle kind of falls in that middle ground.
I like Debo a lot before this Christian McCaffrey thing. The problem is McCaffrey, he's only going to have a few packages in there, and I can't imagine.
That's what they say until he gets out there and breaks a few and starts getting things going.
I mean, I still think it hurts Debo. That's my biggest issue. Yeah, that. I like Debo a ton before this CMC news. Hoop, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I agree with most of the points that you guys have made so far. The Niners appear to be one of the better teams. Now, the hope is in this game, if you do play it, that the Chiefs get a lead and it forces the Niners to kind of throw it a little bit. I don't think that's very likely. In terms of the Pacheco stuff, they're still going to use Edwards-Helaire. They're still going to use McKinnon. So it's not a needle mover for me. I hope people, see, oh, Pacheco's starting, I'm going to jam him in. I hope that's the case. Not going to be there. I will have some MVS. Cheap price tag. 4.4 is, very, very cheap price tag. And based on what I've seen, he's probably their number 1 wide receiver. Mahomes has gone to him quite often. A gross Millie Maker type play is Mecole Hardman, 4.3K. I'm going to have some of him, and then Kelsey. The tight ends. The tight ends are my favorite part of this game because they're both going to be single digit owned. I think a lot of people just going very cheap at the tight end position, especially on DraftKings. Big T has been really good at identifying the spots for Kittle, and I do agree with him here. I think this is a spot. It's a 49 total. The Chiefs are favored by 1.5, which I disagree with for sure. Actually, I didn't realize they're favored. I would have thought
Chiefs
the
are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, wow,
that's free money, Hoop.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised to see that. I didn't realize that the Chiefs are favored in this game.
No way the Chiefs are beating this Niners.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. Actually, I'm gonna place that bet for sure. Kittle 5.3, I do like, and then Kelsey at 8K. I don't think many people are going up to that 8K price tag for Kelsey.
It's tough.
It's tough to do it. It certainly is. But if you play Big T's running backs, you can definitely make it happen. Get Mr. Gus and
get a lot of luxuries with Gus the Bus.
Yeah. It might be might have to reconsider my stance. No, definitely not. No. I was kidding. That took it too far. But yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, McCaffrey definitely hurts Debo for sure. So that's kind of where I'm at here.
Simon, we need like a video of when Gus scores, of just like an overlay of Gus scoring the touchdown and Hoop going whenever
it is wild that we're like, what, one more game to go. I think literally we've talked about Gus Edwards in every single game so far. That's what you get. That's what you get here at RunPure.
Yeah, that's what you get. We also need a few more likes, guys. We're at 1,200 something. We need to get to 1,300. It's our last push. We got one game left. You want our plays of the day? Go ahead and click that like button. We got 2,300 of you watching. We need just a few more. Click that like button. It helps us out over on Run Pure Sports. Let's talk about Seattle and the Chargers. 50.5 point total. The Chargers 4.5 point favorites at home. Do we have Keenan Allen news yet? Have either of you seen that?
Officially listed as questionable, but I think everyone's assuming he sits, right? I mean, that's the assumption.
I mean, if he sits, Mike Williams is such a good play, and I don't think anybody's going to play him. Like, and Austin Eckler also a good play. Like, these expensive Chargers guys. The problem is, Tony, I don't know if Keenan Allen's going to sit, so it's kind of a struggle to click those buttons. What are you doing with this Charger side?
Yeah, I'm just pretending he's going to sit and adjusting. We got enough afternoon plays to where we can adjust a little bit if he's in there. But honestly, I don't think it impacts hardly anyone except Eckler. It definitely hurts Eckler. It might help Mike Williams just to get someone else in there to get a little pressure off him. So I don't think it necessarily – I don't think he plays, first of all. So I'm just going forward with that. Eckler, these quotes. So we talked about this on the premium show a little bit, the Print Factory this week. And Eckler, there's these weird quotes. So I was all over Eckler, and then they kind of talked me out of it because these quotes, like he wants less work. He doesn't – I don't know. Like they keep talking about his workload, and he has smashed. But I don't know. I'm a little nervous. And naturally, like I've been talking about all show, I don't want to pay up at running back. So I would just rather play Mike Williams with Crain kind of. I think last week was a really tough matchup for him going against, they played the Broncos, right? Surtain.
Yeah, they were Patrick Surtain,
Super tough matchup. And now, it's just a great spot. So I think I want my exposure through the passing game more. Eckler could crush, no doubt about it. He's going to project better than any running back today. He's going to be high owned. He might end up higher owned than Jacobs. That's just my opinion. Like, I think everyone's going to play Eckler. His projection's huge, and everyone just clicks optimize these days. Optimize. And it's going to give you Eckler. So I'd rather play Mike Williams, even DeAndre Carter with Josh Palmer out. I think DeAndre Carter's a good cheap play. Gerald Everett is always a good tight end play in this spot. I think Gerald Everett could get steamed pretty hard too. Once Keenan's out, I think he could end up pretty high owned as well. Almost like Higbee a few weeks ago, where just everyone kind of got on Higbee as the afternoon went on. I think that could happen to Everett today. But I'm definitely going more on the passing game here for the Chargers. And Seattle, I think another bad play is Kenneth Walker. He's going to get a ton of ownership at this price, and he's a guy that needs the lead. So if the Chargers are up like 2 touchdowns, I think Walker's just a bad play. So this is another reason I'm going way heavy on Jacobs, because 2 of these other high-owned running backs, I don't have hardly any interest in. And yeah, I just don't see it. So I'll get my exposure through DK Metcalf, even though he let me down last week. Definitely not playing Hoops boy Gino. He's going to come back to earth soon. He did his work already. He got hooped a milli. I don't think he's getting anyone else a milli anytime soon. DK Metcalf and the Chargers passing game for me.
Yeah, and it sounds like Tyler Lockett is going to be in, by the way. He was kind of questionable, didn't practice all week. But if he's going to be in, I don't know. Like, I should have more interest in Metcalf or Lockett. I just don't. Hoop, what are you doing in this game?
Yeah, really like the Chargers to have success here offensively. Regardless of the status of Keenan Allen. And I get the quotes with Austin Eckler, but the problem is, like, now Josh Palmer's out as well, and they just need the guy out there. You look at 16 targets last week, 16 targets, 10 catches, just an incredibly high floor. And he's torched 2 slates, or 3 slates this season. Got to get some exposure to him, in my opinion. They just don't have anyone else to throw the ball to. Mike Williams, love Mike Williams. I think he is probably the lowest. Well, yeah, probably the lowest owned offensive piece in this game of the playable type guys, if you get what I'm saying. Like Everett, I like as well. Herbert, I'm definitely on. I like DK over Tyler Lockett here today.
Wow.
Assuming,
You've been on Lockett all year.
Yeah, I mean the price on Lockett's cheap. I mean I'll play both, but I like DK in the spot to have a big game, and I agree with Kenneth Walker. I don't think like he is in the same category as some of these other running backs, and he is actually looks like projecting to be like one of the highest owned. So not a ton of love for Kenneth Walker, but I think the Chargers roll. I mean Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, DeAndre Carter, Gerald Everett. Love the Chargers side here.
All right, so guys, this is what we're going to do because we're not at 1,300 yet. We're at 1,200 and something. I can't see the other number. We might be 10 away. We might be 50 away. I don't know. But I'm going to ask these guys what their overall thoughts are on the slate now that we've gone through it. While I'm doing that, get on the YouTube, click the like button. It helps us out. You want our plays of the day? Got to get to 1,300. Otherwise, it's going in Discord behind the paywall. So, guys, click that like button. It really helps us out. Tony, overall thoughts on the slate now that we've gone through it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I think we talked about some good chalk spots. I talked about a few chalk spots I didn't like. I don't know. I like it. You're gonna have to find quarterback today because it's not as easy where we can just play Josh Allen. We can play Justin Jefferson, different guys like that. Where I don't know. Those have been my go-to guys so far this year. So got to get a little bit more creative. But I love the slate. It's a great slate. We got good spots and a lot of low totals too, which makes it. I like slates with less scoring. A lot of people like more scoring. I like less scoring because you don't have as many combos of stuff out there to where if your takes hit, you really hit and you have a chance to just ship everything. So give me a good low scoring slate every day over the high scoring slates.
Hoop, what do you think about this slate?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Big. I just go back to the same thing I said at the beginning. It's what you do at quarterback. I think super important today because it's always gets spread out. I think it gets spread out even more this week, and I think we've laid out some nice paths to get to a little bit different as well. But it's good overall slate, and the chat got the job done for us over those 1,300.
Yeah, they got us to 1,300. It was appreciate you guys.
And Mike P came full circle and gave Crain a compliment. So it's,
he gave me a compliment. Thanks, Hoop. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a good Hoop burner account there.
It's always good to keep the host happy,
You never know, man. You got to keep me happy. That's just how it goes over here at Run Pure Sports. All right, it's time for our plays of the day. Tony, I'm going to start it off with you. Let's hear the workbench play of the day.
What is it? Simon just said something.
I don't know. Simon said something. I don't know. Oh, I forgot about members never win. Oh, man, hold on. All right, we're going to members never win. I got to click that button. I got to get over there. Okay, so let's go to members never win. This is what the members who never win have been doing over at Run Pure Sports. Alex turned $20 into $10,000 in MLB. Midius Mark turned $10 into $15,000 in NFL. New member Jeff Nguyen, welcome to the team, turned $37 into $10,000 in NBA. C $22,000 in NBA. Eden Cohen $270,000. That is a big boy number in NBA. And of course Tambo, who's just been smashing it lately, $100,000 in NBA plus a King of the Beach seat in the NFL. Pretty good times over there for those members who just never win.
$10 into 15K. I missed that one. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Those are the best screenshots, right? $10 because that's like the common person. $10, $20 into 15K.
Yeah, that's real money, man. That's a freaking car. Like, well done. All right, Tony, play of the day, workbench play of the day. Who you got?
It would be too easy for me to just come in and say Gus the Bus, but he's not actually we made a lot of jokes. I take pride in the workbench play, though. Not going to come in and say Gus is my favorite work. He's more of a filler type play. So I'm going to give an actual good play for my workbench play of the day. And my favorite guy of the day is definitely, what do we call him? The sun god, baby. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love him. I love that game. I missed him the week or two he sat out because he's a hero and cannot wait to get back on him. Diggs likes to take chances on D. Other guys on Dallas like to take chances. Love the quick dump offs to Amon-Ra. Love him today. All in or close to all in Amon-Ra.
All right. The rich parent. I'm not doing rich parents anymore. It's the rich parent after he wins the Millie Maker play of the day. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go to a guy who, I thought early on in the week would be very popular, and it's looking like he's not going to get to that level. It's Davante Adams. I mean, obviously a big name, but when I first looked at the slate and we didn't have many high-end wide receivers, I just assumed Davante Adams would be very popular, and it's just not the case. So, I'm going Davante Adams as the rich parent / parents play of the day.
What about the sideburns play of the day? Somebody in
sideburns play of the day, yeah. Then I guess the sideburns play can be a Renfro.
I still think I've seen you swing a baseball bat. The most impressive athletic thing I've ever seen from you is putting that jersey on while keeping the hat on.
Slid that puppy right over. Yeah, no issues.
That was impressive, man. All right, 37X play of the day. I'm going with my boy on the other side of the Amon-Ra St. Brown game, Mr. Dak Prescott. I don't really understand why nobody's playing him. Quarterback against the Lions. The dude, we've seen him put up massive games in the past. I think he's the highest scoring quarterback on the slate today, and he's going to be getting there for us. And he's cheap enough to where you can play him, still fit in whoever you want. We got to go. Hoop, what's up next for the people?
Yeah, the Up to Lock show. JSU, Holden, Dunkel taking you all the way up to lock, breaking down any news that may come up, and then also talking some lineup construction. And like I said, they'll take you right up to lock. And, I think we get some big shippers here today. Looking forward to it.
All right. We're going to be shipping today over at RunPureSports. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. For Tony, for Hoop, I'm Eric. We will see y'all later. Peace.